Welcome, everyone, to the Coliseum in Richfield, Ohio, for today's matchup between the Cleveland Crunch, who come into this game with a 13-18 record, and the defending MISL champions, the San Diego Sockers, come in, and their record is a 13-16 record. That's a disappointment for the San Diego club, a team of the 80s and trying to be a team of the 90s in the MISL. Welcome, everyone, to today's telecast. I'm John Paul Della Camera. Alongside me is Ty Keel. Ty, at this point, Cleveland, their fans and their coach aren't sure which team is going to show up. They played 4 consecutive one-goal games, close games, tight games, and then 4 blowouts in a row.
Inconsistency is something that you can almost expect with an expansion team, and really this strong of a league where you have the kind of parity that there is now in the MISL. So it's just a question of trying to work things out. There are veteran players in the team, however, who should do quite well going down the stretch.
On the opposite side, for the San Diego Sockers, they've struggled a bit. They've had some injury problems, haven't had their top guns like a lot of the teams in the MISL all season, but they're no longer running away with the league. What's happened here?
Well, I think it's a problem. As we said, the league is much stronger than it has been in the past. They've had their injuries also, and they've got some key performers who are also not performing up to par, at least for their standards, but they certainly do have a couple guys in Kevin Crow, for one, 3-time defender of the year in the league. He's still playing very well, and Bronco Segota, their perennial leading scorer, he's a man to watch tonight.
Well, hopefully for Crunch fans, the men to watch will come through, and those are the 2 goal scorers in Hector Marinaro and Michael King. They have been a great part of this offense.
Hector Marinaro, he's always been an explosive goal scorer. He's an opportunist. He's very quick on the turn. And Michael King just coming into his own in the league. He's been in the league for several years, but not really scoring at the pace that he's been able to so far this year. So really a bright spot for the Cleveland Crunch.
And both of those guys have been just recently named to the MISL All-Star team. Several players, in fact, from both of these teams. We'll talk more about that later. San Diego has beaten Cleveland 4 times already this year. The Crunch would like to put a stop to that now. We'll have the kickoff when we come back.
You have something we want. You have something we want. You have something we want.
We want your car or truck, and we'll pay you a lot of money for it. Whether you want to trade it in or sell it to us outright, we'll give you cash right on the spot. Good used cars and trucks are in short supply, and we want as many as we can get. Sure, I still want to sell you a car, but right now, I'd like you to sell me one. Whatever you're driving, I want to buy your car now at your Spitzer Auto Store.
Reasons why you should sign up for Society Bank's Prime Advantage. Reasons why you shouldn't. Call 1-800-SOCIETY to find out the location of your nearest Society banking office and the name of your Prime Advantage specialist.
The Cleveland Cavs are in the spotlight, and Sports Channel Ohio's got them. From the tip-off to the final buzzer, Sports Channel Ohio brings you 35 home games and away games, plus the playoffs. Friday, February 16th, the Atlanta Hawks take on the Cavs, live at 8 o'clock on Sports Channel Ohio.
In 1984, Larry Bird walked away with the NBA's Most Valuable Player Award. In 1985, Magic Johnson walked away with the NBA Championship. In 1986, Isaiah Thomas walked away with the All-Star MVP. And in 1988, David McGrain did something even more incredible. He simply walked. Take the next step. Support Easter Seals.
We're back at the Coliseum in Richfield, Ohio, awaiting the opening kick. Let's tell you who's in goal for the respective teams. For the San Diego Sockers, one of the all-time best, Zoltan Toth. He comes in at a 3.54 goals against average, 6 and 7 on the year. On the opposite side, another top keeper. He ranks number 2 in the MISL in average at 3.59 and saves. And in each of those categories, he ranks second to Scott Manning of the Baltimore Blast. Marty Templin, Casey Frankowitz, and Tom Gordon are the officials who will call this afternoon's game. Kickoff, and we're underway. Bronco Segota coming down right side against Bernie James off the boards. Jungle looking for the angle, but now it's James off the glass. Ryan Quinn for Jungle, who heads it down. All the way back towards Kevin Crowe, a 3-time Defender of the Year in the MISL. Recovered after that slight bobble. Now for Jungle. Segota almost blocked by Marinaro. Some good high pressure here. Cleveland pretty intense at the start, but now Crowe breaks it up, and quickly San Diego is in transition. Marinaro got a knock, but there's Segota. Fernandez looking for Jungle. Broken up, Jungle stays down, and now it's Dev Rees picking it up, the rookie. Back to Bernie James. No one has Sweeney, and now Jungle will try and close him as it's played up to Marinaro near midfield. Marinaro, the second leading scorer on this Crunch team, and now San Diego will change. Jungle goes up, Wes Wade comes on. Marinaro to King with 29 goals. The turnaround, it's blocked, and it goes out of play of Kevin Crowe. A reminder that this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of Summer Socket Associates Incorporated and is intended for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Summit Soccer Associates Incorporated and Sports Channel Ohio is prohibited. Cleveland sends Marhetic out along with Bobo Lukic as they've changed, and Paul Wright. Some speed on this line. Look at the men calling today's game for you. Marhetic on the restart. Outside to Dennis Mepham. For Paul Wright. Lost it off a deflection. Crowe couldn't get the hang of it. Now it's James. Scoreless tie, 13:43 to go. In fact, no one has had a shot on goal yet. And we're a couple minutes in. Lukic tried to end that. Played back by Cacho, coming off a career year with San Diego.
Both of these teams coming off of losses on Friday night, so they're looking to turn themselves around.
The turnaround, Carriage, and he just missed. He knew that Johns had come out and really pulled the trigger well.
That's not a bad idea if you know the position of the goalkeeper, and certainly Carriage is very aware, has the vision to, and the ability to strike the ball accurately to take advantage of that type of situation.
Marhetic with Wright and Lukic, the attacking unit. Dargle is back with Mepham. Here's Rod Castro. He'll break with Carriage. Gabarra joining on the run. Castro in on the give and go. Mepham doesn't buy it. Played out to Gabarra at the left point. Gabarra helped the U.S. national team qualify for the World Cup played in Italy this summer. Here's Gabarra with a diving header, but Johns was there. San Diego did everything but put that one by. That would have been artistic, to say the least. Here comes Marhetic, 12:40 to go. First quarter scoreless. Marhetic. The shot taken was blocked by Cogsville, the rookie from North Carolina. Back for Benny Dargle. Well, both goalkeepers can be a little bit relaxed if you can be relaxed in indoor soccer at that position, but neither goalkeeper's had much to look at so far in the early going.
In fact, San Diego playing a bit conservatively on that last break. It was a 2 against 3, and no one even came to turn it into a 3 against 3. Normally, they will break more quickly. They're on the road. They just lost Friday night against Kansas City. They're probably going to play it without taking too many risks, at least early on.
It's played back now to Toth. Almost like the start of a slow boxing match, feeling each other out, if you will. Gabarra taken down by Mepham. Play continues as P.J. Johns rolls it up for Lukic in his first year with a Crunch. Brings it to midfield. Sweeney with the breaking run, the pass for Sweeney, and they just missed the connection. A great idea, but not a good ball.
The blindside run by Sweeney, just trying to break in behind the San Diego defense. Again, the ball not quite reaching it.
Quinn for Segota on the half turn. Had Bronco been able to get a better foot to that, it probably would have been 1-0 San Diego.
Would have been a great save by Johns. He was in a good position, but when the ball has changed direction that quickly or that close to the goalkeeper, he has almost no time to react.
Marinaro leaving it off for Sweeney. Sweeney with a little room, plays it up the boards. Marinaro save off Tolt's head and cleared up by Cogsville, and a good thing he kicks ball, or he'd be giving Zolt and Toth a migraine. Well, all of a sudden Toth is saying, what happened, what changed, and what did, Ty?
Well, things heating up a little bit. A nice ball slotted through here. Marinaro's right inside where he likes to hang out and is usually very successful. Toth trying to scramble back, but was helped out by his defender.
Free kick coming up here in a dangerous position. Cleveland within striking distance here, right at the top of the arc. Sweeney back there with Marinaro. Two-man wall set up for the Sockers. A scoreless tie. Outside for James off the ball. It's going in! A score for Bernie James! Cleveland takes a 1-0 lead. Maybe the focus was on the players by the top of the arc, and all of a sudden James with a deceptive move from the corner.
James, in fact, may not have designed that as a shot. He's almost smirking as he's walking off the field because it's not a brilliant goal, but it's a nice one to get. He's using the boards really to try and get it inside. Instead, it caroms off the goalkeeper's own toe and finds its way into the net. It starts off here, Sweeney shoving it to the corner. James knocked it off the boards, trying to get it out in front, but it finds its way into the back of the goal.
Normally that's one that Toth will smother against the boards, but he missed that as we look at Bernie James, just named this week to the All-Star team and celebrating with a goal right there. The Crunch up by 1. A lot of time left in the first quarter.
2,000,004, 2,000,005.
The U.S. Census isn't just a population count. It helps allocate federal, state, and local funds to your community for things like hospitals, schools, and daycare centers. So take a few minutes and answer the census. It counts for more than you think.
One nothing Cleveland leading it. While I have this opportunity, Jim Overman Jr., the public relations director for the Cleveland Crunch Booster Club, asked me to say hello to some special people. First of all, his sister, Angie Spray, who's celebrating her 34th birthday today, but to his mother and father, Jim and Kay Overman, who normally come out to the Crunch games, but they're recovering from lengthy illnesses, and they're watching this one on TV. So I know they like it so far because Cleveland has a 1-0 lead. James is 7th of the year from Sweeney at 3:49. Sockers in the corner. They played it off, intended for Quinn, broken up. Recovered nicely by Carriage for Crow. We've not seen Hoskeby yet. Of course, he's been bothered by a bad ankle. He's out there now. This is his first chip. Played in wide of the net. And now Mepham was there. Hoskeby injured that ankle in a game against Dallas. And he's, well, I don't want to tell you what he says because it's coming up later in an interview. I almost said what he told you before. Hoskeby will play it back to P.J. Johns.
There was a little bit of action off the ball and off camera that our viewers did not see between Kevin Crow and Kai Hoskeby. Hoskeby is still disputing it with Casey Franklin, the referee. Hoskeby obstructed Crow, and Crow threw him straight down to the turf, and there was no call. I don't think that because it was away from the ball, neither referee saw it.
10:21 to go. First quarter, and it's a 1-0 Cleveland lead on James' 7th goal of the season. Carriage. Upfield now on the left side in his 3rd year with the Sockers, giving it up to George Fernandez, who also was just selected to the All-Star team. Fernandez has a consecutive game streak going. This is his 109th, and he came back from a concussion to play against Cleveland for his 94th game to keep that streak alive. Brian Quinn up the head of Hoskeby. Hoskeby will be on as our halftime guest in a pre-recorded conversation, as will their top scorer for the Crunch, Michael King. So we hope you'll stick around for that. Kevin Crow with it near midfield. Jungle now just coming on for San Diego. It's a 1-0 Cleveland lead. 9 minutes, 32 seconds to play in the opening quarter from the Richfield Coliseum. Played up intended for Crow. It's behind him. And now Marhetic, too careful of a pass, or too careless, I think, of a pass for P.J. Johns, and it almost cost Cleveland.
Nearly cost P.J. Johns his physical well-being on top of it.
All right, can fly, but it's blocked by Zoltan Toth, who did a great job in cutting down the angle. He saw that one coming maybe before Wright did. And Dargo came in on Carriage late, so the foul is going to be called on Benny Dargo.
I was watching Benny Dargo after that last scramble in front of P.J. Johns, and I think he didn't like the way Kevin Crow went in after P.J. Johns. And you see here maybe some payback to try and keep things sorted out that, hey, you don't mess with our goalkeeper or we're going to rough things up.
Actually, a good foul there. He was going to be caught out of position, and the fouls don't cost you this year because the 6-foul rule has been eliminated. So not bad that time for Dargo to disrupt things.
Unless, of course, you would be judged a 2-minute penalty, right, because it was pretty close to that. He came in.
Did you think so?
Well, he came in hard and high with the elbow.
Coming back is Fernandez up for Segota. Sweeney just missed, but Segota's flying into an open space. Dargo with a good recovery to knock it away. Sweeney coming back. Now the game starts to open a little bit. Sweeney looking. Mepham with a good run on the left side. Sweeney just spotted him. Here's Mepham. Jungle with a block. It's loose. King leaves it for Mike Sweeney. The left-footed shot. He scores! Mike Sweeney! The Crunch will take a 2-0 lead, but they're cashing in on these opportunities early.
Well, it really started off with Sweeney. In fact, slotting that first ball through to Mepham. Came back out to him. He's able to convert it. See here, this is after it broke up. This is a nice move by Sweeney because he's faked the shot initially when the first ball came to him, made a little space for himself, got around the defense, and was able to come across the grain. So here's the first shot by Mepham. Marinero gets a foot on it. Here goes off of Mike King, and Sweens lines it up with the left foot and goes across the grain. So Toth is unsighted. He's screened and finds his way into the far side of the net.
Mike Sweeney, 6th of the year. Michael King assisting at 6:44 of the opening quarter. So the Crunch take a 2-0 lead. Last time these two clubs met here, Guevara scored an overtime goal to win it for San Diego. And as we mentioned at the top, San Diego has beaten Cleveland in the previous 4 meetings this year. Upfield, James blocked the Guevara pass. Knocked across to Bernie James and now to Mike Sweeney. Two players that the Crunch front office felt they must get back here to play in Cleveland uniforms when they announced the team was coming back. Jeff Reeves back now to Sweeney, former MVP with the Minnesota Strikers. King off the boards, wanted Sweeney, look out! As Zoltan Toth was able to reach back and get that.
Not a bad idea by King to use the boards in the fashion that he did, and there was enough pressure on the San Diego defense, and especially Rod Castro, and he nearly caught his keeper out of position.
Crow up for Segota. A good delay there by Castro to get to that. Staying right with him, though, and making a fine play was Deb Reeves. They tried to spring Marinaro, but Cacho was there. And good thing for Toth if he's got to defend against a breakaway. With one of the leagues, or against one of the league's top offensive threats in Marinaro. 7 minutes to go. First quarter, careless Segota pass picked off by Marhetic. Crunch leading it by a couple. James and Sweeney the goal scorers. Marhetic with room down the sidelines, blocked by Crow. Crow with a nice job as usual defensively, and San Diego will get the ball back.
Marhetic very ambitious there, taking on 3 players and nearly squeezed past Crow.
Marhetic has 4 power play goals this year, all against Dallas, ironically. Karic can't go against Wright and Lukic, but a good recovery by the Yugoslavian player, who'll give it up on the right side. And now it's Brian Quinn, recently named to his 6th All-Star team. Jungle was taken down, no foul called. Jungle saying, where's the respect? Player of the decade, and I got to agree with him. Unless you detected him guilty of bad acting there.
Things have been difficult for the player of the decade and the team of the decade this season. Things not going well for the San Diego Sockers. They're only 3-11 on the road, so really a fine opportunity for the Crunch to get back on their winning ways.
And as everyone that's followed the MISL knows, that even when they were on the road, they were a team that expected to win. They always had winning road records as well as at home.
They went through one regular season with a 30-10 record.
I remember it well. Here's Castro with a block from Dennis Mepham. And now play back to P.J. Johns. This is still a very good San Diego team, though, so lest anyone think that they're going to just give up willingly their reign on the championship, forget about that. They'll be in there somewhere. But right now they've not played near the potential and near what we've expected from previous San Diego teams. Here's Marhetic coming back the other way. A 2-0 Crunch lead for Lukic. Easy stop for Toth. On the left side, here's Cacho. Now to Crow. Brian Quinn with a little space. 5:10 to go. First quarter. Broken up. Coming back. Here come the Crunch. Marinaro with King. Trying to play it across block. Toth is out of the net. Cleared out by Crow. Pretty ambitious attacking there by the Crunch.
Marinaro there took himself to a worse angle than maybe he needed to. I think he was trying to get Zoltan Toth to move a bit.
Oh, King just missing the corner on the right side. That's a good point. I think he was hoping Toth would commit himself, but Toth, maybe better than any other goalkeeper, doesn't usually commit like that. And he took away his passing angle.
He's got very good foot speed and his ability to put work to get back into position in case he is pulled up.
He blocked that shot on the short side. Cacho is there. Around the boards for Wes Wade. A block from Reeves, and Reeves did more than block. He held him, says Marty Templin. 4:23 left in the opening quarter, and the Crunch leading at 2-0. If you're just joining us, you missed out on a Bernie James goal, the 7th of the year from Sweeney at 3:49 of the opening quarter. Then at 6:44, Sweeney's 6th of the year, and the assist going to leading scorer Michael King. Segota with it now for San Diego. Last 4 years, he's led this club in points and assists. And he's always up there in the goal-scoring category, but he had some injuries last year, so wasn't quite up at the top. And Karich had a great year. Along the boards, King won that battle, but a whistle. The foul goes the other way. Here's a look at the player of the decade or the backside of Steve Jungle. I can remember back when he scored in back-to-back years better than 100 goals. And you should remember, he must have scored 1 or 2 off you.
He blew by me a couple times like I was a lamppost.
Going back, it's Marinaro to Paul Wright. To midfield. Wright with some good footwork looking out for Marinaro. In the corner against Guevara. Guevara sent him flying, and a foul is called on Guevara. So a restart coming up here as we look at the French can do power play wise. This year they are 6th in the MISL. It's the penalty killing unit that's been right up at the top of the MISL. They're number 1. 30 seconds left. Here's Marinaro, and that's why. Sweeney with it. Cutting it back out. Marhetic leads his club. He's got 4 power play goals. Coming back, Lukic. All the way back to Johns. Pressure being put on by Cacho. Johns across. 15 seconds left in the quarter. 2-0. Cleveland leading it. Sweeney. Marhetic trying to turn over to Marinaro with 8 seconds. All the way across off a deflection. 5 seconds. Sweeney keeps it in. King. And Toth cuts it off. They can kill off the rest of the penalty. San Diego can in the next quarter. They'll have 1:23 to kill off. The second quarter begins, but it was a good first quarter. With Crunch, James has scored and Sweeney has scored. And as we leave you after the first 15 minutes, the Crunch are up by a couple.
Do it now at Spitzer Chevy. Get a brand new 1990 Astro conversion van or a brand new 1990 full-size family van for only $15,995. These vans are fully customized and equipped with the options you want most. And while they last, you can buy one for only $15,995. It's the best deal going on a brand new 1990 van. And we have over 100 custom family vans for you to choose from. Now's the time to shop Spitzer Chevy in Northfield, North Canton, and Grafton.
You've got my old route.
Probably not many houses back then.
Business looks good. What you gonna do with all your money?
I put in a bank.
Which one?
Society.
Me too. Good bank for us businessman. Let me see one of those papers.
Let me see 35 cents.
All the things that make you different make us a different bank.
The Cleveland Cavs are in the spotlight, and Sports Channel Ohio's got them. From the tip-off to the final buzzer, Sports Channel Ohio brings you 35 home games and away games, plus the playoffs. Friday, February 16th, the Atlanta Hawks take on the Cavs, live at 8 o'clock on Sports Channel Ohio.
She just doesn't do the things she used to. I know her eyes are getting worse. She's having trouble getting around. She's scared. I'm scared.
Increasing numbers of Cleveland's senior citizens suffer the loss of part or even all of their vision due to disorders like cataracts, macular degeneration, and glaucoma. The Cleveland Society for the Blind offers services to bring out the best in every senior citizen. Call us at 791-8118.
We are back here in Richfield, Ohio. It's a 2-0 lead for the Cleveland Crunch, and we remind you that Sports Channel's coverage of Cleveland Cavaliers basketball continues on Friday, right after the NBA All-Star break this weekend in Miami. Friday, February 16th, when the Cavs take on the Atlanta Hawks here at the Coliseum. Dominique Wilkins coming into town. Cleveland Cavaliers basketball, and it's live here on Sports Channel Ohio.
We're looking earlier at the save by P.J. Johns. We'll get a look here. He's over at the near post, and you see it come out to Kevin Crow. Kevin Crow does well to keep it low into the opposite side. P.J. Johns comes all the way over to smother it at the far side. He had a little bit of help from the goal post there, too, but just amazing that he was able to get all the way over there.
Look at those shots, though, for Cleveland. That's the one that really jumps out at you, the 12-3 edge. And it was not because of the power play, because really they just had the power play at the end there, and maybe a shot, maybe no more than that. That was an edge with teams at equal strength.
Well, Cleveland playing just with more enthusiasm and energy than the San Diego Sockers are, particularly in that first quarter.
Well, let's see what Cleveland does here in the power play. I mentioned that Marhetic leads them in power play goals with 4. I should add that Michael King also has 4 power play goals out of his 29 that have been scored this year. Here's Lukic, and the second quarter is underway. Power play on for another 1:16 now. Marinaro against Cacho. A right-footed shot blocked out of play by George Fernandez.
A good illustration there of just a change of pace. Not a big fake or anything. He just took the ball towards Cacho, and the sudden burst of speed was enough to get himself open for that shot.
Crunch only at 30% power play-wise, 6th in the league. The penalty-killing unit, though, of the San Diego Sockers is 4th. And they always had good penalty-killing units with San Diego. They had to, as we look at Kai Haskeby. The reason they had to, they were always at the top of the league in penalty minutes. Ball is cleared out again into the seats, and the Crunch will put it back in play.
Well, the Cleveland Crunch are giving something away here on their power play without having Kai Haskeby in there. Normally, he would be playing there, obviously, because of the injury. Not able to put as many minutes on the floor as he would like.
Cleveland is off the rest of this week. They'll host Wichita Saturday night, then to Dallas on Sunday for our next TV game. Here's Sweeney, picked up by Crow, forcing it back to Lukic. With Quinn right on him, a 2-0 lead for the Crunch. Sweeney playing it in, right into the area. Marhetic left it for Lukic. To Marinaro, off the boards, it hopped out, a quick shot save off of King's shot. Here's Sweeney in, off the hand, the left hand of Toth.
Fernandez may have saved a goal with the block, the defender for San Diego.
Brian Quinn, back now to Kevin Crow. Intercepted, and now here's Sweeney to midfield. 28 seconds left in the power play. Here's Marinaro, and now looking for Marhetic, and it was deflected out of play. I wasn't wondering when Cleveland was going to score a goal. I was wondering when the music was going to stop. I thought I was at a dance for a second. I like it when they play the music to get people going, but that was an awfully long song. I thought it was going to last the whole power play. Toth will put it back in play when we resume with 23 seconds left. Toth talking things over with Marty Templin. Zoltan Toth originally came here from Hungary, and he was on the Hungarian national team, the Olympic team. He actually came here, defected to this country. He's been here ever since and has really enjoyed it in America, especially the indoor version of soccer. Cacho playing it long off the chest of Dev Reeves. Now to Michael Sweeney. 14 seconds, all that's left in the power play here for Cleveland. They have a 2-0 lead.
Cleveland needs to be careful here because Segoda's the one that's in the box, and quick counterattack if they lose possession.
That was a nice shot from James, better than the one that went in.
You're right.
That was a very good shot from James, and that's a good point you mentioned about Segoda, because you know in 5 seconds he's going to come out of there like a jet, and if that ball comes off the boards, how many goals have you seen like that in indoor soccer?
Happens all the time, and the Crunch just have to be very much aware that he's about to step back on.
And a timeout is going to be called. Cleveland wants to take a timeout, and I'm willing to bet that what they're going to talk about is that right there with Segoda ready to come out of the box. And Kai Haskeby will bring the troops over. His team is leading it 2-0 with 13:42 to go here in the second quarter.
Stand right up for who you are. Stand up right now. Stand up and be counted.
The census is not for welfare.
Cops are it.
But counts for clinics, schools, and jobs.
Don't worry about a that.
Census time is the time to speak up. Let's make sure we're all counted. Come on, answer the census.
Stand right up for who you are. Stand up.
Welcome back, everyone, to Cleveland Crunch Indoor Soccer. The Crunch are leading it by the score of 2-0. 5 seconds left in the power play. James and Sweeney have the goals for Cleveland. They both came in the opening quarter. James at 3:49 from Michael Sweeney. And then at 6:44, just about 3 minutes later, was Sweeney getting his 6th of the year from King. We look at Ron Newman talking to Jim Gabarra and Wes Wade. And got to congratulate Jim Gabarra. One of the reasons why the U.S. qualified for the World Cup team. He's not part of their team right now, as we look at Segoda, but Gabarra did help, scored some big goals in other qualifying games earlier for the USA. In 5 seconds, the last guy you saw, Segoda, comes out. Here's a quick shot. King took the shot. I thought it was deflected. Let's see who they're going to give it to. If it was deflected out, then Toth will have it. That's how quickly time flies in indoor soccer. 1 whole second, that's it. So it'll still be 4 seconds left And it's going to be Toth's ball, so apparently it was not deflected. And that'll actually give Cleveland a little bit of a break. Now they know about Segota because they're all drifting back. Sometimes you can be thinking too much about attacking, especially with that man advantage, as you were saying. You forget that guy in the penalty box. Played up intended for Castro. He and Reeves did a great job holding one another. Sweeney sends it across. It's blocked. Cacho leaves it for Toth, who almost lost it. He must have seen Marinaro at least hurt him, but hard to tell from here. Here's Sweeney coming back. Right side, Michael King. Bringing it back out. Neutral zone now. Dev Reeves wants a little movement. James. Reeves getting some playing time with the injured Theo Kuzdem on the sidelines. Along the boards, a battle for it. Reeves looking to win it for Marinaro. Sends it out instead. Here's Bernie James. Fakey was going to tee it up. Now plays it across. On the left side. Reeves looking for Marinaro. It's blocked a couple of times. Knocked out by Toth. He may be hurt. He and Marinaro, that's a tough collision, and neither guy expected it, nor could they brace for it.
The ball was still loose. And just a heavy contact made. Marinaro's knee jammed into the midsection, resulted Toth. You see Ron Newman coming to attend to his goalkeeper. Zoltan Toth, and Marinaro was holding his knee. The ball just shook loose really at the top of the box here. A little miscommunication between Crow and Castro, and there's Marinaro just following through. He nails Toth hard as he got there late for the ball, but he may have injured himself in the process.
Well, tough for both of them as Ron Newman and Kai Hoskevy, the coaches, are out there taking a look at him. We'll see if they come back and come right back into action. 12:52 remaining in the second quarter. Cleveland up by a couple. You're watching Cleveland Crunch Indoor Soccer here on Sports Channel Ohio.
Tune on Sports Channel America any night of the week for exciting sports.
On comes Fuller on a breakaway. Looks, you score! Moving into the circle, sideline Graham for Thomas. He scores!
Nobody delivers the NHL like we do, with more than 100 hard-hitting contests straight through to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Bennett's gonna have to hurry.
Keep pace with the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame as they challenge top college teams across the nation. Climb into the ring every week with the Sports Channel Pro Boxing Tour. It's a knockout. Feel the fever of high school sports with the National Federation Game of the Week. Sports Nightly keeps you up to date with the latest scores, highlights, and news before and after every event. Plus, men's and women's college basketball, the Los Angeles and Boston Marathon, pro tennis, English League soccer, international amateur events, and more. Turn on Sports Channel America for exciting sports.
Well, Cleveland leads by the score of 2-0 here in this MISL game on Sports Channel Ohio. We remind you that coming up on Thursday, February 15th, Sports Channel Ohio presents a college basketball triple-header. The action begins at 7 at St. Louis University versus Dayton, followed by the initials game, UAB at UNCC. Then it's New Mexico State and UNLV. But some great basketball coming up here at Thursday, the 15th, on Sports Channel Ohio. Coming back now, it's Kevin Crow. Right side for Jungle. It's a 2-0 lead right now for the Crunch. Goes by James and Sweeney. Settling the ball now is Ben Collins. This is his first appearance for San Diego. First appearance tonight. He was injured, didn't play Friday against Kansas City. Mepham flipping it back. There's Johns just getting it ahead of Jungle. Jungle still has a nose for that goal. His numbers may be down this year, but he's not playing as much. Only 11 games this year. And sat out a long stretch in San Diego.
But notice who he is teamed up with when he does come back on. Is his old friend, really, and his protege, Bronco Segota. They played together with the New York Arrows, and really when Jungle moved over to the San Diego Sockers this time, one of the main reasons was to play alongside Bronco Segota.
Fernandez, here's Segota, and he just missed, but it was whistled down. A dangerous play earlier? Yeah, that's what the call is. Yes. Segota, a great friend of Jungle's, might be the guy that breaks all of his other records if he plays long enough, because Jungle set up some big-time numbers earlier in his career. I don't think we'll ever see, I shouldn't say that because players get better and better, but the competition, the defense gets better too, but I don't know if you'll ever see anyone score 100 goals again, like Jungle did 2 years in a row. Here's Fernandez. Of course, if they change rules somewhat, open it up a little more, then you never know. Fernandez will play it all the way back to Toth, who, when we left you during that commercial break, was injured in a collision with Marinaro, and Toth is apparently all right. Marinaro, we'll see when he comes out for his next shift. Here's Castro, the intended receiver, but Marhetic is back there for Johns. Tell you, Cleveland, give him credit, they got 2 goals, but they protected Johns well. He hasn't had to do all that much in goal in comparison to his counterpart. The shots on goal reflected on the opening quarter.
If you watch the league in general this year, you see a lot of team defense. We've seen it from both teams here. Of course, Cleveland's done a little bit better. As you said, they've been keeping a lot of the action away from Johns, but you're going to watch how often a player, when he appears to be open, suddenly is double teamed.
Benny Dargo. Defense has come a long way in this league over the past few years. Some people have criticized that, saying the game used to be more wide open, but it's really a credit to the coaches and the players that they're paying attention to it. Here's Marhetic. Drew the foul.
Segota was coming in to double team there and instead tripped Marhetic. When you talk about the defense, it takes a great deal more discipline and work.
Here's Mepham with a shot through a screen. That's blocked. Lukic. Some players used to think it was an evil. Now they know it's a necessary evil. Dargo playing it in off the boards. Marhetic trying to shake loose. Couldn't get a good shot away. Here's Dargo. Great save by Zoltan Toth. That one bounced off the carpet, making it even tougher for the veteran keeper.
Well, courageous save, and he's not shy. If you notice, as Dargo was winding up, Toth was rushing out to cover more of that goal. Instead of just waiting to try and stop the shot, he's trying to cover as much as he can as soon as he can.
And it's a bigger save. Here's Quinn. Bigger save when you consider that they're down by 2-0. They don't want to go down any further. Played all the way across. Guevara will get it knocked back to George Fernandez. Fernandez, one of the unsung heroes, I think, of this club. Starting to get the attention he deserves now.
Well, he's made a name for himself lately, marking Preki and keeping him without points in a couple games, and also Tattoo, and enough of a name for himself that he's been named to his first All-Star team.
Up for Jungle. Looking for it was Jungle, but T.J. Johns is there. Johns sends it up. Cleveland has the edge in shots this quarter. In fact, San Diego doesn't have a shot yet. And look at the totals. Almost an open chance. Sweeney, but Guevara made a nice recovery to allow Toth to get back in goal. That's why I used the phrase almost an open net. It was there for a split second, but Sweeney didn't really have the ball.
Sweeney had to reach back for it as the pass was slightly behind him. Mepham trying to work it into him. The pass is in front of him. He probably can get into that empty side of the net.
Fernandez playing it up, and now it's broken up. There's Bernie James. Played the last few years with Tacoma after being involved in that trade that wasn't really very popular. James and Ward heading out for Tacoma in an unpopular trade because James was always and still is very popular here in Cleveland. Coming back the other way. The crunch. Working it up. Olabi playing it in, and that's broken up. Olabi's first shift of the day. Nassim Olabi, number 2 for the crunch. And this would have been, I would think, Marinaro's turn to come out. But he's on the bench, so presumably he'll come out. Unless...
he did go off under his own power,
right,
but that doesn't necessarily mean he's capable of playing.
No. We may find out he's got ice in that knee. We don't have a shot of that, or well, he's leaning over the bench right now, but we'll try to find out. Here's Olabi. He fights hard for that one, but Toth is able to win it. Played back to Crow, looking to lead Karich, but Dennis Mepham coming there. Cleveland doing the job defensively in terms of responsibility. We've not seen anyone break into the open for San Diego. There's Marinaro. Leaning over, watching the action. He'd like to be out there. And hopefully he'll get back in there. James with a giveaway. That's one of the few they've had today. Coming back is right. Maybe the only guy that can catch Karich. That plus a bad pass that Karich had to reach for. All right. Coming back. A lot of open space to use that speed. Now Wade trying to close him down. Played right side to Olabi. Outside the box. The shot was blocked. Played back to Toth with 7:43 to go in the second quarter. Crunch up by 2-0. Karich from Fernandez. Going straight at Mepham. Now to the outside. A right-footed shot. A solid one, but a bit too high. Karich able to pull the trigger in a hurry. Coming back was Olabi. Broken up. Here's Cacho. Crunch leading it by a couple. James and Sweeney, the goal scorers. Segota all the way across, but Mepham blocked that, and Jungle was wide open. Good defense from Mepham. Cacho got it back, but didn't have enough mustard on that shot to get it by Johns. Stigota plays it back. He and Mepham kind of muscled each other along those boards.
Stigota just really playing frustrated. He's not had much openings here to do some of his offensive things that he's so good at. He's already had 2 minutes of penalties. That time he probably could have beaten Mepham to the ball. He waited instead as if he was looking for the contact.
Quinn to Stigota against Mepham, pulls it back. Here's a left-footed shot that's wild from Cacho. Mepham now to Hoskeby. Hoskeby with that bad ankle limiting his play. Deflected up by Sweeney to Marhetic. Off the boards and wide. I wasn't sure if Marhetic was going for goal or to play it off those boards to someone, but I didn't see anyone coming.
I liked what Hoskeby did with that early pass, trying to spring Sweeney and Marhetic. Sometimes it's not how good a pass is, it's when it's played, and he got it out there quickly before San Diego could get players back.
Marhetic will play it back now to Reeves. Hoskeby's bad foot, we're told, is the right one, a sprained right foot, as he brings it back to midfield. Cacho will defend him. Hoskeby will make the smart play back to P.J. Johns. And now Cacho will pressure him. Toth has been the busier of the two goalkeepers with all of those saves. 9, that was his total. It's only 2-1, though, in this particular quarter. Timeout on the floor. We have 5 minutes and 48 seconds still left here in the second quarter. The Crunch are leading a 2-0 tie. What is Cleveland doing so well, and maybe what's San Diego doing not so well?
Well, as I mentioned at the outset, San Diego not playing with a great deal of conviction. They've had chances to break forward, and they're not taking many risks. They're going to need to take more risks since they're down 2-0, but it's not an insurmountable lead by any means, and even if they would go in at halftime down 2-0, that's a whole second half to play, so they're not that worried about it. They're probably going to keep playing more or less the way they are and just hope for some opportunities.
Remember, this is the lead that people hate, that 2-goal lead, because you think you're in the driver's seat, and then you give one up, and now it's 2-1. One team has momentum, and the other team says, uh-oh, and then it happens.
Well, and the Crunch continue to create opportunities for themselves, but still have only 2 in the back pocket, so unless they are able to put a couple of those away, it doesn't really mean much.
Well, I asked Kai Hoskeby before the game, I said, how can you have a game or a situation where there's 4 consecutive games and they're 1-goal games, then there's 4 blowouts, and they're not being blown out. They're blowing out a couple of those teams on their own, and he said part of it is an expansion team and the inconsistency, but part of it is when they got the 8 goals, when they got the 9 goals, he said we got every bounce of the ball we had, and in the games that we lost, we couldn't buy a goal, and the ball was bouncing right the other way.
Here's that last break by the Cleveland Crunch. The ball was lifted into Marhetic from Kai Hoskeby. Sweeney gets it forward to Marhetic. Zoltan Toth comes rushing out. Crow comes over. The ball is past Toth, but hits the boards and comes straight out. But that's a good quick break for the Cleveland Crunch.
And looking back at it, Marhetic's definitely going for goal, but Crow's nudge is what forced that one a little bit off. That's good defense from Kevin Crow. Played upfield now by Toth. Headed away by Dev Reeves. Michael King coming back after it. He played last year in Dallas when there was no indoor soccer here. Castro with a late turn to Cacho. All the way across off a deflection. Swept away for the moment. And now taken back by San Diego. But a foul is going to be called.
Dev Reeves having a good performance here, the rookie out of Quincy College. And the Crunch do miss Theo Coulsdom. He's multi-dimensional, but Reeves doing a fine job.
Cacho with it. Dumping it left side now for Castro. Played out again to Cacho. And now with Karich. San Diego trying to be patient now and work it around. Maybe catch someone ball watching.
You see the tight marking go by Cleveland.
Castro, nice tackle from Reeves. Right though is blocked. Cacho will get a break off the referee Marty Templin. He won't get an assist though if San Diego scores. Here's a long drive from Karich that's wide. James is there off the board. Here's Karich on the intercept right across. But Gabar just going to flick and nothing more on it. Johns going for the touchdown. Michael King is robbed by Zoltan Toth. I like that action. Coast to coast indoor soccer. That's great stuff. Johns, the recognition, seeing him, and then the finish.
Well, that's what this game is designed for. You can get from end to end in no time at all. And this is a rifle of a throw straight into the stride of Michael King, and he does everything he could possibly do. But Toth courageously holds his ground and is able to put a block on the shot.
Before Johns gets that ball to our right, he already knows Michael King's breaking, and there's a busy man today with his 10th save. He knows that he's there, and that's part of the problem, being able to see the guy, but then delivering it right across. It was broken up, intended for Mepham. Here's Wes Wade. He can go. Johns way outgut that and got a piece of Wade. And then Wade went down, and the penalty is going to be called on Johns. I might have bought the fact that there was a penalty earlier on. I thought Wade kind of forced the referee's hand after that, but maybe not. But I thought Johns gave him a good piece, and I think got him with the right arm as well.
Johns is coming at a great rate of speed, and some of it's self-defense. He's just putting his leg and arms up because you know it's going to be a heavy collision because both players are coming head-on at full speed.
Now the replay.
I think P.J. Johns was victimized a bit there. It's hard to slow up when you're moving that fast.
Yeah. I had seen his arm up, and they called a dangerous play. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, he just barely won the race to the ball. There's not much else he could do with his arms other than protect himself.
There are some players in the National Hockey League that would have liked that as a great check, I'll tell you. That was a tough collision, and Wade
didn't back down either.
No, he was going for it. His speed, Johns had to beat him there. Let's look again from this angle.
Neither one of them let up, but Wade comes all the way in. Johns does throw the arms up. From that angle, it looks worse. Before, it looked more like he's just trying to brace himself.
Yeah.
This time, he almost turned sideways to make sure he made some contact.
That was hockey. Where's our NHL promo? That was Pittsburgh against Philadelphia tonight, right? 2-0. Cleveland leading it. Let's look at the penalty killing. I'll tell you, that's been a crunch great point this year, and that's something you don't expect an expansion team leading in penalty killing.
Can you imagine only giving up that many goals?
Only 6, yeah.
But they do have that experienced unit. You look at Mepham, James, Dargle. They've got King up top for a little bit of a counterattack situation. But all three of those guys played in Cleveland previously in a very capable penalty killing unit.
Yeah, that's not an expansion penalty killing team out there. That's a very sophisticated unit that's out there for the next couple of minutes. King with Dargle, James, and Mepham. They've only allowed a couple of goals in the last 17 tries, and the St. Louis Storm are the team that had their number. They got 2 out of 3 the other night in a 6-1 win for St. Louis. Here's Karich. A nudge to Jungle. Out for Segota. Off the trap. I tell you, no one looked good for San Diego on that. Dargle lays it for King. Karich must defend. Michael King tried to cut it back. Segota with a block, but he gave it up to Dargle. And now played back to Toth. A minute 38 left in the power play. San Diego with a man advantage. Bringing it back up. Marinaro will serve the penalty, so you know he's all right because he's going to come right back out into action. Here's Quinn.
They did rest him a bit, though. Hoskeby took a few shifts there.
Oh, yeah, he definitely missed 2 or 3 of his shifts. Cleared out by Cleveland. And now Toth brings it up to midfield. Well, I'm glad they showed me that shot, guys, in the truck of Marinaro in the box, because I would have been looking for him on the bench and would have wondered where he went. I didn't see who was serving the penalty. Obviously, in this league, the goalkeeper does not serve it. Quinn in the neutral zone, right side for Segota. His shot blocked by James, and Johns was ducking down. He was screened.
That ball was dipping, too.
Mepham. Good hustle. King running into open space, but Toth gets there first off the boards. Up for Karich. Dargle blocked it. Couldn't do much with that. He would have liked to have been able to find King, who would have had a better angle. 40 seconds on the power play for San Diego. Crunch leading at 2-0, 3:10 to go in the second quarter. Coming up at halftime, Ty speaks with Kai Hoskeby and Michael King. Here's a quick shot. Johns waved at it. Might have gotten a hand on the Karich shot.
I think it got a corner of the post.
Either way, yeah. Here's Karich. 50 feet away. Slides it. Segota. Off a deflection off Jungle. I'm not sure if he tried to deflect it or if it just hit his foot.
He did. Let me tell you, he's crafty, particularly around the goal, and all it takes is a little change of direction.
Here comes Quinn. A shot through a screen. It hit his own player, Jungle. 8 seconds left on the power play. And they're going to call a handball the other way. I was about to say that one of the things that San Diego must remember, like you talked about before with Segota in the box, is Marinaro.
Well, it's pretty obvious when the coaches pick who's going to serve certain penalties that they like to have someone who's good on breakaways. Marinaro, very confident in those situations. In fact, takes the shootout attempts normally for the Cleveland Crunch.
Charlie Green is out for his first shift of the night, or of the day. Here's Marinaro coming out of the box. Green has had some leg problems, as you can tell, by the bandage on the left leg. He scored a goal, though. Didn't stop him Friday night in St. Louis. Got his first goal of the season. That'll slow him down, though, and that's his strength is in his speed.
Well, and it's difficult to ask a guy who's now been sitting for nearly a half of a game to come in and try and perform in this pressure situation when you're trying to hold that 2-0 lead.
Oh, you can see he's struggling there on the run back.
Especially on the turn.
James and Wade bump. Bernie James clears it upfield. Was looking for Marinaro. Now Toth comes out. Toth has had to be very active in this game. Wade will get it off the deflection. He'll bring it in. He's got Karich breaking in. He chose to shoot it, and it's right at Johns. Upfield for Marinaro. Trying to leg it back to Mepham, who was rushing on. 1:36 to go here in the second quarter. 2-0 Cleveland leading it. They want to take at least that lead into the dressing room at the half. Off a deflection. That was crazy. That was the indoor bounce. Here's Charlie Green. Slowing it down. Last year, a player assistant coach with Hershey of the American Indoor Soccer Association came back to MISL with Cleveland this year. Right side boards. James got that good pass from Green. Into the corner. Nguyen out for his first shift here for San Diego. Played on the same Western Soccer League team as Paul Wright, who now has the ball.
There's
nice run back.
some jets there. He just overtook Rod Castro there, showing that great speed that Paul Wright has.
Marinaro to midfield. Time remaining, not much in the lower portion of your screen. Paul Wright dances to the outside, took a nudge from Castro, and a foul is going to be called on Diego Castro. Wright plays it across. Driver, what a big save by Toth. Punched it out to his left, and I don't think he saw that until the last moment because there was a screen set up in front.
Well, Dev Reeves cutting across the front of the goal nearly was there for a deflection. So Toth, it's a tough save anyway, but when you've got to deal with bodies right in front of you, it makes it that much more difficult.
Toth has been one of the MISL's finest goalkeepers since coming here. He actually started out with Shep Messing in the New York Arrows. They were the 1-2 team for a while with New York. Then his career, he went from the East Coast to the West Coast, helping San Diego win several of their championship rings. Crow back to Toth. 30 seconds are all that's left in the first half, and the Crunch have done well here, leading at 2-0. Outscoring, outshooting, and outplaying San Diego. Off a deflection. Oh, you don't want to see Jungle come across, do you? Mepham right on him, and that one is blasted upstairs with 17 seconds left. Well, if they're going to give one up, they'd like it to be harder earned than that one would have been.
That's when it comes down to discipline in terms of staying with your man and tracking him right down until the play is over. And Mepham, a fine job staying with Jungle every inch of the way.
P.J. Johns will put it in play with 17 seconds left. He played last year with Tacoma, another popular player that has come home to Cleveland, where he had so many great years with the Cleveland Force. 9 seconds left. John sees that whole right side of the field. Now we'll release it. Up for Michael King. 3 seconds left. King trying to turn. The horn sounds. Ending play in the first half. But the Crunch will get a nice hand as they leave the field. They've done well in the opening half of play. Ron Newman's team on the short side of a 2-0 score. Goals by James and Sweeney. And the Crunch lead it 2-0 at the end of the first half of play. And the Cleveland Crunch are leading at 2-0 over San Diego here at the end of the first half of play. And although Michael King doesn't have any goals so far today, he has been among the bright spots for this expansion franchise. Before today's game, Ty Keogh had a chance to talk to the leading goal scorer and leading scorer of the Cleveland Crunch, Michael King.
Thanks, JP. Mike King, you've been one of the more consistent offensive performers for the Cleveland Crunch this year, and you've gotten some recognition for it. This time, your first pick as an All-Star, going to the All-Star game in San Diego on February 21st.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it's been a bit of a tough year for the team, but personally, I've had a good year, and I'm just pleased that I've got the chance to go out to San Diego and show the rest of the league what I've been doing for the team this year.
How frustrating is that to know that you're doing some really good things, but the team is really not in contention, for the top of the division?
It's kind of tough, but at the moment, last couple of home games we've played well. We've scored a lot of goals at home. We've got to get back on the right track on the road. We've got to, we were doing well at the beginning of the season, but just last couple of away games we just haven't been clicking. But the team's coming around, and if you look at the standings, you only got to put a streak of 3 or 4 wins together, and you're right back in the thick of things.
What do you attribute the fact that you're really on a goal-scoring streak? You've always scored some goals in this league, but you're really ahead of any pace you've had in previous years.
I think it's just another year in the league, and some more experience that I've got, and I've just calmed down a little bit in the way I played the game. I used to be a little bit of a tearaway, running all over the place. Now I've calmed down, and I've looked and seen where the goal is and the goalkeeper, and I've tucked a few goals away.
What do you hope to accomplish in your first All-Star game?
Winning the MVP would be real nice, but realistically, as long as the East wins, that's all that counts.
As long as the East wins, but you'll get to play alongside some very colorful players.
Yeah, and this year with the lineup with Dallas going to the west and Wichita and Kansas coming to the east, you know, it's changed the lineups up quite considerably from what they used to be.
I think it's a score at the end of the first half. I'm John Paul Della Camera. Alongside me is Ty Keogh. When we get to show you the highlights, folks, there's not much to show because there's 2 goals, but really all of the highlights belong to Cleveland unless you're a Zoltan Toth fan.
Cleveland here with a set piece. They work on this, and really James, the play is designed for him to get the ball off the boards out in front of Dev Reeves. Instead, it did the double carom off of Toth into the back of the goal. We'll see it from the different angles. Sweeney down into the corner to James. James off the boards trying to get it to Reeves, but it deflects back in behind Toth. Not a pretty goal, but it puts the Cleveland Crunch up 1-0.
It was Bernie's 7th of the year from Mike Sweeney at 3:49 of the opening quarter, and then 3 minutes or so later, the Crunch was able to strike again.
The Crunch were really dominating in terms of chances on goal and shots and forcing saves, and it's Sweeney here with the left foot on the turn. It's difficult to get over the ball as he did and gets it back to the opposite side, so nice work from Sweeney's left foot.
Well, scoring-wise, the Cleveland Crunch have a 2-0 lead, but, you know, statistically, they've really had the edge as well. They've taken 20 shots against only 8 for San Diego. How many times in years past would you see that? That's an average of 4 shots a quarter. That's so unlike San Diego.
Well, you do normally expect the home team to come out firing and really have more of the play, but you don't expect this kind of dominance with the 20 shots for Cleveland. And look at the 11 saves and quite a few very good ones from Zoltan Toth.
Yeah.
It could be more than 2-0.
That was my next question for you. I was going to say, taking nothing away from P.J. Johns, but he has not had to be nearly as active as Zoltan Toth, and the score would be higher were it not for some big saves.
Johns has played aggressively and he's played sharp, but he's not been under the gun repeatedly as Zoltan Toth has.
2 goals, not much of a lead. You'd rather have the lead than not have it. 2-0 is what Cleveland has right now on the goals from Sweeney and Bernie James, but you get the feeling that 2 goals won't win this kind of a game.
Now, I was about to go out on the limb myself and say that you're not going to win this game with just 2 goals, and San Diego's have had their troubles as of late. They've had a great deal of difficulty winning on the road. They've only won 3 road games all year, but they're going to score a couple goals. Cleveland really can't afford to just try and protect this kind of lead. They're going to need to go out, generate more attack as they did in the first half, and even be more effective in terms of finishing off those chances.
And here's the cliche you've all been sitting back and waiting for. The next goal is going to be an important goal because it's pretty obvious. Cleveland gets it. They're really in the driver's seat at 3-0, but if San Diego gets it, look out.
That's an obvious one, but the game does change. If you're up by 2, you can dictate the pace. You can kind of pick your times to go forward. If you play too conservatively and you get into a defensive shell and it becomes a 1-goal game, then momentum and emotion and everything else can take over.
I think when you're playing against San Diego and you have the lead, you're not so much worried about the mystique or the aura when you've got things in control. But you know what? When you're going up against them and you have a lead, then you lose it. Then you start thinking, boy, Jungle, Segota,
Brian Quinn, Kevin Crowe, the guys that could come from the back. So, yeah, there's no doubt about it. This is a San Diego Sockers team also that's frustrated with their own performances, and they're just looking for an opportunity to maybe take a come-from-behind victory to start to build some momentum as we get to the All-Star break and down the stretch towards the playoffs.
A reminder that this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of Summer Soccer Associates Incorporated, is intended for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Summit Soccer Associates Incorporated and Sports Channel Ohio is prohibited. Well, San Diego is coming out, and they are ready to get things started. We are awaiting the arrival of the Cleveland Crunch. They have the lead of 2-0. We congratulate the 2 teams, the players of the 2 teams that have made the All-Star team. San Diego has a host of them. So too do the Cleveland Crunch. The Crunch have added to the roster, besides Marinaro, who has selected Michael King, Mike Sweeney, and Bernie James. Those are the Cleveland players that have made it. Fernandez made it, Crowe made it, Segota made it, Quinn made it. Who am I forgetting? I think that's it.
Fernandez.
No, I got him.
Did you say that? All right.
So 4 or 5 Sockers are in there as well. The West will be coached by Ron Newman, and on the opposite side, Ken Cooper will be coaching. Fans come in all ages and sizes here in Cleveland and all over the major indoor soccer league. One of the younger ones enjoying today's game, assuming, of course, that she is a Cleveland Crunch fan. And there's the guy that's won more games than anyone else. Too many games actually to count now, probably, for Ron Newman. And it's going to be a little bit frustrating for him, knowing that his team has struggled a bit this year, but no one is figuring on San Diego not giving up their title without a big fight.
It's hard to believe that at this point in the season, the San Diego Sockers, this team with this winning mystique, this dynasty, is only one game out of last place in their division.
But they're also, what, one game out of the space above them and a couple out of that, so
yeah,
it's close.
Yeah.
Michael King said it on the interview as we look at Kai Hoskeby's record in his first year. You put together a little streak, you go from the basement, from the outhouse to the penthouse overnight.
And both divisions, both the Eastern Division and the Western Division in this league are really separated by basically 3 or 4 games at the most.
So here we are with P.J. Johns. Cleveland is 8-2 when they lead at the half. So, yeah, they're halfway there. Johns is in goal to the left. Zoltan Toth is in goal to the right. I don't know whether Toth is just looking different to me. Did he change his jersey? I was going to say, fashion conscious, huh? I thought something looks different about him, but maybe I'm wrong. But no, little change at halftime.
Well, he put a whole game's work into the first half.
That first half uniform was probably soaked. Here's P.J. Johns. There's Zoli, the goalie, as they call him. I thought he looked a little brighter down there. I knew it wasn't the lighting. Bernie James chasing it against Steve Jungle. Both have been in this league for a long time. Here's Sweeney. He'll get it back from Michael King. Going long, blocked by the chest of Fernandez.
Nearly squeezed that one through, and Marinaro would have been off to the races.
Sweeney on the intercept. Sweeney always good at the counterattack. Always an aggressive defender. Teams used to hate to play against him in the midfield. He hasn't been as physical maybe at times, and maybe the wear and tear on the knees and the injuries have caused that problem. And he's also been a little more of a playmaker here. But boy, he and Brian Quinn, 2 of the tougher ones in the MISL.
Talking about battlers and guys who are spark plugs for their teams out of the midfield. Talking about Sweeney and Brian Quinn. And Sweeney really has become a more constructive player than he was in the past. Before, more of a defensive role. Now he is able to spread the ball around more.
Here's Quinn with a shot, and that handcuffed P.J. Johns.
Quickness of the release of that shot nearly fooled P.J. Johns.
James after it, and now it comes back to Johns' right. Leveled Wade. Is that going to be 2 or just a foul?
I don't see a card, so it's just a foul.
Just a foul. It's pretty intense there in the corner. Paul Wright asking Casey Frankowitz about it, but he's not going to change his mind, fellas.
Well, Wes Wade did go flying here. There's number 24, Wade, battling in the corner with James. James tries to put it back to Johns, and Paul Wright just obstructed his avenue towards the loose ball. It was not quite loose as Johns was scooping it up.
Played all the way across, and it deflects out to Crow. I guess if you call sticking your leg out, that's slightly obstructing, right? Or that's what it looked like at the replay.
Also called tripping.
Here's Toth. Yeah, if anything, I would have not even spoken to Casey Frankowitz in case he changed his mind the other way.
Yeah, he could have made it 2 minutes instead.
Paul Wright coming back the other way. Lost it as he tried to dribble it forward. Now Dennis Mepham helps out. Wright has been a big plus for this Cleveland team, and in fact, he's an ex-San Diego player. They didn't want to lose him, we were told last year. You have a guy with that kind of speed and a guy that can also put the ball in the net. You don't like to give him up. You know, I just saw Crow and Hoscovy bump one another again. That goes back to the first half. I don't know if you caught it.
To the first minute of play, practically.
What? Okay, Hoscovy's right on him now. I didn't see the first one. I didn't know if you saw the second one, but it lives on, whatever it was. San Diego is broken up. James, great back heel. Here's Marinaro coming through. Great save, Toth. That's the save of the game in my book. James in the corner now to Marinaro.
Toth again rising to the occasion. He threw himself completely sideways in the air to cover as much of the goal as he could, and he just timed really that move well, and it enabled him to really cover a lot of the goal.
We're going to have to speak to Bernie, though, about that back heel when this game is over. That was magnificent, wasn't it? I've never seen him do that.
He's been watching his own instructional films.
Ball is played up now to Carriage. It's a 2-0 Cleveland lead. Broken up. Carriage was literally broken up by Mepham. Wanted the shoulder charge, but he's not going to get that call. Now it's Sweeney.
I've never seen so many players just walking alongside the officials as today after non-calls or calls. It just the game goes on and they're having a stroll and chatting as they walk along.
Coaches love that part, right? Where they're constantly yelling at the players to come back.
Don't bother getting back to mark your man. You know, just give a piece of your mind to the referee.
Breakaway, fellas. Nice job. Here's Ladasur, who has not had much say in this game. This is either only his first or second shift. I don't think he played at all, in fact, in the first half. Ladasur, good role player for this club. Took a year off last year and established himself in private business, and he is back. Right side for Cacho, a 2-0 Cleveland lead. Guevara outside, now to Ladasur. Played into Karich, kicked away by Sweeney, and there's Marhetic. Otto playing it up on the right side for Michael King. King, an explosive player, and one of several Crunch players on the All-Star team. Here's Sweeney. Playing it all the way back out. Left there now for Marhetic. Getting it from Dargle. Otto looking. Is able to take on a couple of players, but that time a lot of sore stripped him. Blocked. Karich will get it back. 10:52 to go. Third quarter. A 2-0 Cleveland lead. We've not had a goal, though, since 6:44 of the second or of the first quarter. That was some time ago. Here's Quinn leading it. Pacho off the boards and wide of P.J. Johns, and no one able to pick that up on the trail. Coming back, Cleveland with a chance to go up 3-on-2, but now it's 3-on-3 as Pacho got back in a hurry. Marinaro, well-timed ball across to Mepham off the boards. Mepham got his own. It looked like it was intended for Sweeney, but he wisely was able to let that one go. Cleveland leading it by the score of 2-0 with 10:25 left in the third.
The Cleveland Crunch returns the Major Indoor Soccer League to Ohio, and Sports Channel has all the action. From opening kickoff to the final shot on goal, Sports Channel Ohio brings you the explosive play of head coach Kai Oskabee, along with MISL veterans Bernie James, Mike Sweeney, Benny Dargle, Charlie Green, and the #1 college draft pick, Simon Keith. Hear the roar of the crowd as the Crunch take the field. Sunday, February 18th, the Crunch take on the Dallas Sidekicks, live at 5 on Sports Channel Ohio.
We've seen a lot of this from Zoltan Toth today as Marinaro broke through in behind Fernandez. He's all the way through. Look at Toth. Just launches himself across to cover and sprawl and take up as much of that goal as he possibly could. And he stopped what is normally a sure goal for a player like Hector Marinaro.
Now, if he's sitting back in the net, what happens there with Marinaro? He's sitting
Marinaro picks his corner and slides it past him. Instead, he throws himself out and spreads his body sideways in a horizontal fashion where there's not anything left to shoot at.
A lot of factors aren't there really for the goalkeeper. He's got to see Fernandez on him. He's got to know how much support he's getting and still not overcommit himself.
It's anticipation, it's timing, and it's experience, being in the right place at the right time.
And as we said at the top, he is one of the best. Look at Wichita leading Kansas City 1-0, and that is in the first quarter of play. I tell you, never more so than this year, though, on any given day, can anyone win in the MISL, or so it seems. But all it takes is a little streak, and you go, like I said earlier, from last place right to first.
Well, even within a game, a little streak. Cleveland is playing with a great deal of confidence. They're working the ball well. They're showing, but it's still only a 2-goal lead. And San Diego is just biding their time and know that they're within striking distance. And meanwhile, the Cleveland Crunch, using up a lot of energy without that much to show for it. When a 2-0 lead is nice, but it's not necessarily going to win a game for you in this league.
I'd still be surprised if it ends up like that. I've not really broadcast all that many low-scoring games, especially when the score is already 2-0 at halftime. Usually you'll see something in the second half, or at least in the games that I've done. Jungle outside now to Guevara.
Now you got to begin to worry if you're a Cleveland Crunch fan, because despite playing well, they don't have the bundle of goals.
Here's Quinn. Played across, and that's broken up. Kevin Crow now right across, and Jungle just missed.
Jungle just trying to drag that ball in with his heel behind his own leg.
Lukic was wide open, but Marinaro couldn't make that long of a pass, or at least didn't feel comfortable in doing it. It looked like he had seen him. Right coming back. Giving it up to Marinaro. Beat his man. Guevara shot. Score! Hector Marinaro gets a big goal to give Cleveland some breathing room.
An extremely important goal, and you're going to see here, deception is the name of the game. There's Marinaro. He allows the ball to run past him, just sidesteps Guevara, and is able to poke it past Zoltan Toth. But you'll see it here again. Paul Wright slots it in. Marinaro takes a step towards his own goal, then turns the other way and is able to sneak behind Guevara and just poke it past Toth.
You know, that's two that Zoltan had a hard time with. One was on James, one on Marinaro.
Tight along the boards.
Yeah. But I'm wondering, in that case, when we talked before about communication, did he think Guevara had him and maybe wasn't as sharp or as tight there?
He expected Guevara to be able to slow up Marinaro, but Marinaro, that deceptive little step to one direction before he went the other way, just left Gabarra standing flat-footed.
That is a very big goal because you can only go up and down the floor so many times and continue to be denied without it affecting you psychologically. And then if San Diego got a goal, then is where you have the problem. But it's Marinaro from right at 5:44. Let's see what that does to the game. It may give San Diego a little more urgency in terms of attacking now.
I think at least initially that'll be the case. If Cleveland can really withstand the first couple of minutes here, it's going to really give them more energy in terms of getting forward because success breeds success. You don't want to attack more.
On the steal, here's Carrots getting it. Nice save, Johns. Tougher to do when you consider PJ has been inactive for a good part of this quarter and even going back into the second.
That's an important save, though, because it's so close on the heels of that third goal for the Cleveland Crunch.
Well, that's when they say you're most vulnerable, right? You're still high, you're still pumped up, nobody can beat me, and boom. Right side now, it's Cacho. Going by what you were saying, too, if San Diego does open it up and create a little urgency, we might see the counterattack, and Cleveland could really put them away.
Exactly.
Sweeney says my jersey was being pulled, indicating that it's up another short size. But he doesn't get any sympathy there, and it's going to be a restart. Here's where San Diego was always very dangerous. Quinn gave it up to Sweeney. No danger there. Marhetic. Danger for Toth. Pato has Toth out. Nice cut back inside, but then lost it. Toth came out, then started to go back, and Marhetic.
And Toth read the dribble. He was waiting for it. Not a bad idea by Marhetic, actually.
I think had Toth been caught in the back of the net, I think Pato shoots it from maybe 35, 40 feet out.
He took a good look at it, and Toth was back in position, so Marhetic decided to go with the dribble instead.
And that's really his forte. He just happened to lose it on the dribble, but then he was getting a lot of support the other way. Coming back to help P.J. Johns, making a nice save on Segota.
How about the way that ball moves off the foot of Bronco Segota? That ball's got force on it, and it was changing direction like a knuckleball.
He's had it caught before at some 75 miles an hour. That one may not have been going 75, but I followed you to the Coliseum today, and it was going faster than you were.
His shot's got a real kick to it, and sometimes it appears to pick up speed after it's off of his foot.
Medlin plays it up right side. Here's Marhetic with 6:55 left in the quarter, right in front. Blocked off Michael King. He was attempting his 30th goal of the year.
Well, that's a first-class setup by Marhetic to find King at that back post.
Here's King pulling Toth out. Bangs it off of those boards. Paul White. A knuckleball sent across, and now it's Cacho coming back with 6:38 left in the third. Cleveland leading it 3-0. Goals by James Sweeney and Marinaro. Marinaro intercepts. It's 3-on-2. Gives it up to Wright, to Marinaro, and the passing game failing, but here's Hector with a shot, too high. He may get another crack. To Wright, missed in the volley. Taken back, but a foul is going to be called on Collins. Okay, that was not highlight film passing, but it was nice to see the 3-on-2. One pass was worse than the other.
They did keep it alive at least, but they did lose their advantage.
They were trying to outdo each other with the bad pass.
Yeah, how quickly can you kill an attack?
Marinaro with it. Plays it back out to James. Now it's Michael King. Crunch have done well in this one. They're leading at 3-0. Up from Marinaro. Right side, and King just got underneath that. Marinaro did well playing with his back to goal. Okay, we have 6:07 to go here in the third, and it's all Cleveland. They're out shooting the San Diego Sockers, and they're winning where it counts.
Turn off Sports Channel America any night of the week for exciting sports.
On comes Fuller on a breakaway. Let's shoot, score! Moving into the circle, sideline Graham for Thomas. He scores!
Nobody delivers the NHL like we do, with more than 100 hard-hitting contests straight through to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Bennett's going to have to hurry.
Keep this with the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame as they challenge top college teams across the nation. Climb into the ring every week with the Sports Channel Pro Boxing Tour. It's a knockout. Feel the fever of high school sports with the National Federation Game of the Week. Sports Nightly keeps you up to date with the latest scores, highlights, and news before and after every event. Plus, men's and women's college basketball, the Los Angeles and Boston Marathon, pro tennis, English League soccer, international amateur events, and more. Turn on Sports Channel America for exciting sports.
Well, the Cleveland Crunch, if you're just tuning in, have a 3-0 lead over San Diego, and they've done it the old-fashioned way. They've earned it. They've worked really hard in this one. Goes by James Sweeney and Marinaro for that 3-0 lead. A reminder that Sports Channel's coverage of Cleveland Cavaliers basketball continues on Saturday, February 17th at 7:30 when the Cavs travel to the Big Apple to take on Patrick Ewing and the New York Knicks. Cavs basketball live on Sports Channel Ohio.
P.J. Johns really coming up with an important save because of the timing, as we mentioned. But Karic is in cold turkey. Johns holds his position well, does not commit, and comes up with the save.
And those are the things, the little things that won games for San Diego. One quick steal, and they're right back.
Yeah, they turn it right back around. Instead, it's still three goals that they're looking at to try and make up.
Still a lot of time left, though. 6 minutes left in this third quarter alone, and then you've got another 15 in the fourth. Here's Segota with Sweeney on it. But the intensity level of the Crunch has not wavered since the opening kickoff.
And collectively, they're all trying to help each other out, and that's really the difference. If you play as individuals, it's a team game. It doesn't quite work no matter how hard you're trying. But if you're willing to do a little bit extra for the guy next to you, then he does something for the guy next to him. It builds, and that's what we're seeing from the Cleveland Crunch.
That's a good point. Individually, it could be a lot of wasted effort. Collectively, it's happened here for the Crunch, who lead it 3-0. Played up now to Ladasura. The turnaround was well behind Castro. And now it's Reeves. Okay, we've not seen any real breakaways for San Diego. That steal by Karic obviously was one, but the other way, Cleveland's had a few 3-on-2s. They've had some nice counters. So I got to give credit to that Cleveland defense. Responsibility-wise, they've had their men picked up. Very few breakdowns.
Watch the Cleveland Crunch. They've been very compact when they're defending and also when they're attacking. They always have numbers. It's a game of numerical superiority. We're seeing almost for the entire game, wherever the ball is, there's more Cleveland Crunch players than there are San Diego Soccer players.
Up for Kai Hoskevy. He'll bring it back. Was looking too far back for Marinaro, but Hector is there. Across down to Hoskevy. Hoskevy, despite being injured this year, last year actually he was very healthy. Played in all 48 games, probably for the first time. Here's Marinaro, took it from Guevara. Couple of pumps. Net's open, right across. He missed it by an inch. That's great stuff by Marinaro.
He was deking and faking and trying to get Toth to get out of position.
Sweeney across, blocked by the face, actually, of Toth. Marinaro's got to be wondering there.
What a duel, though, huh? Between Marinaro and Toth. I loved it. Every minute of it. Toth had him at his mercy, but couldn't really get him to commit enough to work his way around him.
Well, Toth is one that's certainly not giving up as San Diego now makes some changes. Tell you, when we talk about the defense of Cleveland, Segota's not had a free shot in this game.
Here's Marinaro doing some magic, but Toth is up to it. But nearly gets another shot at it from the bad angle. Wasn't able to put it in.
We are back live, and this is, in fact, this is a normal speed. It looked like it was speeded up by the videotape people, but that was Paul Wright flying, only to lose the ball in the end. But that's going to be a real concern if you're a defender tracking him. Coming back now the other way, Nguyen will play it up to Karic. Right side for Segota. Both of these teams played and both had to travel yesterday because they played on Friday. So Saturday was a travel day. They were both on the road. Each team lost. A tough loss to Kansas City by a goal by San Diego, whereas Cleveland was really crunched by the Storm. Mepa knocking it back to P.J. Johns. Segota almost said thank you very much. Again, if they're going to give up a goal, they want it to be a hard-fought goal, not a bad one that could give everybody a bit of a dejected feeling. Start the fingers pointing because their heads have been up all game. Here's Mepa. Nice job to beat Karic. Up for Paul Wright. Pressured by Fernandez. And now played back to P.J. Johns. 3:03 to go in the third. Cleveland leading it by 3-0. King was hit there by Kevin Crowe. Crowe had his best offensive year last year. Picked up some of the slack when Clavijo left as a free agent and went to Los Angeles. Clavijo now playing in St. Louis.
And the Soccer's playing today without Wad Hermes and Ralph Black, two left-footed players who can come forward well from the back and add some scoring punch.
Off the boards the other way. Cleveland without Coulsdom. Seems to have everyone else intact. Keith not playing either, but other guys are hurting. Hoskevy playing despite the bad foot. On the right side, here's Marhetic. Coming back. Pato. It's 2-on-3. Played it right back, though, to Michael King. That ball was just a little bit up in the air for King to handle, but a good idea, and they almost had an advantage, even though they didn't have the numbers there. Coming back now, Brian Quinn. And it's going that way. Here's Brian Quinn. He's already been chosen prior to this one to 5 All-Star games, but he's been injured. He missed 3 of those All-Star games because of injuries. A healthy Brian Quinn should mean that San Diego is always going to be a good club with the talent that they always put around, but Quinn has been a key to this team, and there have been some years where he's just played such few games that it's really hurt the team. They've been able to win, but they're a different team.
He's one they look to for inspiration, too. You think on every team there's a couple guys that really do inspire their teammates because they come to play each and every game and they gut it out. Brian Quinn is certainly one of those kinds of players, named the MVP in the playoffs a couple years ago because he was the one that turned it around for the Sockers when they had to come from behind in that series.
Shots on goal are even in this half, but look at the edge in the first half of play was 20-8. Headed down now by Cleveland, intended for Marhetic, broken up. A minute 50 away from the close of this quarter. Cleveland leading it by 3. They look for Segota off P.J. Johns, who mishandled it. That was a tough carry for P.J.
Nice job by Dev Reeves to beat Segota then to that ball that was looping up high.
Segota wanted the handball. He's still waiting for it. Coming back. Lukic leading it for Cleveland. Marhetic, left footer blocked by Zoltan Toth. And while prone on the ground, he still flicked it off with his right foot. Segota was behind Mepham, but unable to make the play. Johns read it well. Here's Mepham in the midfield. Pushed away by Wes Wade. Brian Quinn chesting it down. Looking for Wade. He's got James as well. Wade slowed down. Nice recovery by Wright, and then Wade went over him.
James playing with the partially sprained ankle he did it a few games back. You saw him stumble there. That's possibly the reason he's feeling that ankle somewhat.
To the right side. Bernie James holding it against Collins. Now it's Mepham playing it up for Hector Marinaro. Broken up, and we've got a foul as Marinaro is down. Wade has already gone off. Pacho's over there talking to Casey Frankowitz. Oh, they called it in Marinaro, actually.
Yeah, well, San Diego wanted the advantage.
Well, San Diego has the door open, but how many players are out there? They've got the right number of players. Crow's in there.
Well, they're supposed to have the gate shut.
Well, yeah,
that's a technicality there. They may just be warned on that.
Well, they'll talk it over down below. Marty Templin and Casey Frankowitz talking with the alternate official. Oh, they're going to give him for what, an illegal substitution? I'll tell you what, I've never seen that if it's just for having the gate open. Let's listen. Oh boy, too many men on the field.
You know, Crow was standing there like with just one leg on the field.
I don't know. Ron Newman looking at the notes. He says, I never saw that either with an open door, but they say too many men on the field. The alternate official will make that call. That's one of his responsibilities. He's looking there. If we ever get a chance to look at that, and I don't mean on air, but maybe in the truck later on, I'd like to know if we saw any of that, if we saw a change, because when I looked, I didn't see anyone changing. So that's what confused me. All I saw was the gate open.
Somebody appeared to be caught in the gate there, but they're right there, and it's normally, they're not that nitpicky on those kind of calls.
They're ready to kick off. And it's Michael Sweeney. Well, Cleveland will take the power play. They're not going to argue that. Here's Marinaro bringing it up now for Marhetic. Each team has had a power play chance today, but neither have connected. Well, Cleveland could really put San Diego down with a goal here. Sweeney from Lukic. Right across Marinaro. Tees it up and all, and knocked Toth down. Oh, I'll tell you. Marinaro holding onto his head saying, how could I miss? And Toth, it couldn't have hit him in the face. He must have got his hand up there. He'd still be down with cosmetic surgery to come.
Well, you see, just a thunderous shot by Marinaro. He got all of it with the follow-through, and I was surprised Toth got up as quickly as he did. He just gambled and came up short.
He'll get less help now, won't he, with a 4-0 deficit?
They're going to have to send players forward and risk even more, and he's bound to be under the gun even more.
Like now, here's Marhetic, but he didn't get a chance. He wanted to go, I thought, with Dargle, and they didn't read each other well. Here comes Kevin Crow with a little room, but now it becomes a 2-on-4. Now Karich helps out that team defense you were talking about, evident again. Here's a long shot wide of a diving Johns.
Harris just trying to sneak it in around over towards that far side, hoping that maybe Johns doesn't see it.
Nguyen for Karich. Goran Karich taken down unceremoniously by Dorgel. A restart here for Segota and San Diego. Rocco Segota once asked if he would try out for the Miami Dolphins of the NFL as a place kicker. Plays it across and off the deflection. There goes the shutout. Nguyen will score the goal. Well, when I think of Segota and the Sockers, I think of the danger of set pieces, but that's not the way I've seen him score off a set piece.
I'll tell you what, when you see Segota lining it up here, he fakes the big pump and instead goes low and hard across to the backside. And Nguyen, all he had to do was stick his foot out because he's in behind everybody, including P.J. Johns. But Segota puts a lot on it, but also kept it low and away from P.J. Johns to get it into that backside.
That's his first ever MISL goal for Hien Nguyen. His teammates used to call him Tinny in the Western Soccer League, where he played, as we said earlier, as a teammate of Paul Wright. That San Diego team won the Western Soccer League crown, the regular season, and the overall championship. Ball headed down. Taken over by Reeves. So there goes the shutout, 4-1. And maybe Cleveland will play a little bit better, not having to protect that shutout. Sometimes that could be a psychological burden, too. Although maybe Kai Hoskeby would want that for the concentration.
Exactly. You always want a shutout if you can get it.
Yes.
You can't lose.
Now you might be too relaxed, right? Oh, well, we already gave up a goal. Here comes Guevara. Blocked by James, but right to Quinn. Let's see what that goal, though, does to San Diego, more importantly. And even for Cleveland, how they react to it. First time they've been scored upon today. 4-1 Cleveland, 8:13 to go. Plenty of time left for San Diego to chip away, and they were one of the innovators of that sixth attacker rule, so they could go to that any time. Guevara. Knocked back. Segota teased it up off the right foot. It's wide. Guevara couldn't control it off the carom, and then off his right foot, it goes into the crowd. Guevara limped a little bit after he kicked that, miskicked it. There's a look at Guevara, the former Los Angeles Laser, had 26 goals for them a couple of years ago. Time has stopped here in Richfield, Ohio, with a crunch on top of San Diego, 4-1 with 7:54 left. You're watching Cleveland Crunch Indoor Soccer here on Sports Channel Ohio.
Don't you want some of this stuff?
JJ, now that you've won it all, how are you going hardship?
My man, JJ McCormick's not only going hardship, I'm going lottery.
A lot of people will tell you that cocaine not only will get you high, but will take your performance to a different level. But in this game, the higher you go, the closer you get to the bottom.
I'm JJ, man.
Juking, jamming, popping, rocking, off in the transit. Every game's at the end of the BDs.
What the hell's going on? Jamming.
One game is in your face, the next day isn't even in the game.
Hey, JJ! Stop, JJ!
You guys seen JJ?
Police announced that they'd arrested JJ McCormick.
It's 4-1, Cleveland leading San Diego. Ty, if you're San Diego, how do they get themselves back in?
Well, they need to outwork Cleveland Crunch, which they've not managed to do up to this point. The Crunch have taken the initiative and always scrambling with an extra player for that loose ball. San Diego, as I said, not that same kind of conviction in terms of team play.
Kai Hoskeby always coaching. Tougher to do when you're a player coach, but if anyone can do it, you'd think it would be him.
He said the most difficult thing for him was that he also had to deal with his own injury problems and really how that affects his mental state, and also come back and be able to instruct his team and especially his younger players.
Look at Hoskeby, who has kept himself out of action for a good part of this game. He's probably had, I'm going to guess, maybe 8 shifts or so, but far less than he normally would have. On the right side of the field now it's San Diego, trailing at 4-1. They're actually still in this game by virtue of that last goal, so I'm not minimizing their chances, certainly. I've seen too many big things that this team has done. Marinaro knocked it out. Or was it knocked out for him? Intentionally. That used to be a penalty, but it's no longer the case. And frankly, I'm glad, because I found that referees very seldom called it when it's like intentional grounding in football. Everyone knew it, but the referees would give them the benefit of the doubt. So now they're more apt to call this because it may hurt them for ball possession or position, but not with a penalty. Here's Segota. Look out with a two-man wall. He quickly gave it up, and just missing was Karich. Well, that's where Segota can be very much a feared player, not just because of his shot, but passing it.
And
the threat of the shot.
The threat of the shot is what really makes the pass, as he gets everybody leaning, and you don't want to get hit by one of those, so you're bound to be flinching somewhat.
King trying to come through, almost got it back, but Toll got it out, looking out of the box.
I think he was.
With his hand. The crowd thought so, too. I think he was out by a good ways, too. There's your scoring by quarters in this game. Here in Richfield, here's Marinaro trying to come back with a 4-1 lead for Cleveland. Toll pushed it out. Sweeney almost got to that, but now the Sockers coming back on the 2-on-2. Collins and Karich 2-on-3. Now Collins goes to the bench for a change. Segota comes out. You watch out the next 6:42. Segota might play 5 of those minutes at least. The only breaks he might get are for defensive purposes. If he gets those. Here's Fernandez. Knocked back. Segota playing it up now to Karich, wanting to turn. Does turn despite Mepham right on him.
That was double teaming again because it was James who was marked up with him. Mepham comes over to help out, and that's the difference when you're talking about trying to contain a player of Karich's offensive capabilities.
Cacho sending it back now to George Fernandez. 6:05 to go. Fourth quarter. The ever-dangerous Karich. His team down 4-1 here in Richfield. Blocked by Dennis Mepham. Now for Marinaro. Marinaro trying to come back against 2. Broken up.
Some nifty work by Marinaro there. A little air dribble at midfield. Some nice control of the ball under some heavy pressure.
Cacho with it now at midfield. All the way across now to Jim Gabara. Right side, Diego Castro off a block, and those could be dangerous.
This way, this way.
And now it's cleared away by James. Cacho all the way back now to Zoltan Toth. Next home game for this Crunch team will be Saturday night before they hit the road for Dallas in the next TV game. Here's Cacho right side to give and go. Great goal. And don't look now, but San Diego's cut that lead in half. Cacho from Castro, a beautiful give and go. That's the way it's meant to be run.
They worked it well. P.J. Johns really has no chance in that kind of situation because they really did make a nice combination of passes to break through. Cacho finishing it well on top of it. So the Crunch here will have to reorganize. Cacho starts it off, just slides the ball inside, and then gets the return pass from Rod Castro, and then rifles the ball into the top part of the net. Cacho, a defender, but he's not totally unfamiliar with being out in front of the goal there. As you can see, he places the shot very well past P.J. Johns.
I'm wondering what San Diego does now relative to the 6th attacker and how that may have changed their plans a bit. Cacho getting it from Castro's 9th of the year for Cacho, who had a career year last year with 8 goals. So he's already better than him. Marhetic coming back to Paul Wright. On that give and go, it's so important that you track your man, and Cacho did it well, and so did Castro. So on one side, Ron Newman gives them credit, but Kai Haskell is going to be critical on his team for not
well, Dennis Mepham watched the pass a little bit, which enabled Cacho to sneak in from behind. The San Diego Sockers have been forced to use some players who normally don't play as defenders in the back because of the injuries to Black and Hermez, and also we've not seen Cogsville since early in the game.
That's right.
Now we've got Crow's
on it. Yeah, they can do that now on the fly. I like that new rule, just like in the NHL. Off a deflection on a Quinn shot. They're back in. John saying it went in off somebody's shoulder, but not a handball.
May have hit Michael King actually at the top of the arc. We'll see it on the replay here. I believe it was off a Cleveland player. And Johns, of course, has got no chance when a ball is hit like that and it changes direction and speed on the deflection. So Brian Quinn just decided to light one up from pretty far out, take his chances. You see him, he's outside the red line. He hits it well, but I think Johns would have had it covered had it not hit Michael King, who was standing at the top of the arc.
I think it hit Jungle. Well, I don't know if we have another angle of that. I thought as Jungle reached his head down, I thought he got it.
I thought it already hit King before it went past Jungle.
We'll let the official score decide it. I want to remind everyone to get in touch with the Cleveland Crunch ticket office for ticket information. Their next game is Saturday. Get in touch with them for individual tickets or group tickets. Call them. The number's in Cleveland, 216-349-2090. In Akron, 216-535-KICK.
Well, the way Hoskovy and P.J. Johns are complaining, you may be right. It may have been Jungle, and I think what they're complaining is that Jungle may have used his hand to direct that ball past P.J. Johns.
Well, Quinn got the goal as Guevara plays it back. So,
if we can, that'd be great to have another look at that, because that's a critical goal, a crucial goal perhaps in this game at this time.
At 10:40, the goal is coming about a minute apart. Played in now to King. Sent the other way. Well, I knew 2 goals wasn't enough to win it, but I thought 4 was, and time will tell if it is. Here's Fernandez. Right side to Guevara. The shot is stopped by P.J. Johns, and he had Wade behind him. Marinaro. Broken up. Now it's Guevara with 3:54 to go. Crow remains out there as the 6th attacker. Quinn's 13th goal of the year.
San Diego has stepped up the intensity and the pressure, making it more difficult for Cleveland to control play as they had earlier in the game. Cleveland now coughing the ball up. San Diego then comes right back down their throats.
I know the first goal broke the ice, but that second goal was the big one, I think. That given goal, it was a big goal, gave him a lift. Played out intended for Segota. Quinn tees it up, blocked by Benny Dargo. Crow will get it. Before you had to change the goalkeeper during a timeout. Now you can change on the fly as San Diego took advantage. Here's Quinn. Right across. Save and then a goal off P.J. Johns. Karich has tied it. What a comeback from San Diego. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I don't think I'd believe it, because this game was in control.
P.J. Johns can't believe it either, but that's just a fantastic run by Brian Quinn there. He really took all the responsibility to himself to get the ball down deep into the Cleveland Crunch end. You see Crow there worked his way through 2-3 Cleveland defenders, then cuts the ball all the way across the grain to the backside, and Karich slots it in. P.J. Johns nearly touched it. The crucial goal, though, the third one that put them within 1, is the one that Quinn hit from outside, and we see it go past King, and it does hit Jungle. It may have hit his shoulder or his elbow to carry in, and that's the one that put San Diego within 1 goal. Now they've tied it up, and when that third goal is one that's a disputed one, I think that even affects the Cleveland Crunch, their composure, even more so.
That's a good point. You're down, but you feel maybe you got robbed, you got cheated, and now who's against you?
Yeah, and now it's an even game.
But
in a game that you had won.
I can't call that controversial. I mean, not on what we saw, because we couldn't see it. It might have been.
It hit Jungle, whether he intentionally steered the ball in or not with his arm or his hand. It's hard to say, because it may have just hit it.
Yeah, and intentional was the key word you just used.
Well, that's the only way it's a foul, is if he did it. The ball could hit a player in the arm and go in, and it's still a goal.
Sometimes people forget that, but that's the rule. It's got to be intentional. A restart here for San Diego. They're starting to look like the team of the 80s again. Segota. Just as I say it, he miskicked it.
Well, it is 1990s, so.
Well, that's right. So now, I was right. It's 4-4 here with 3 minutes to go. And at 4-0, this game looks in control. Even at 4-1, it looks in control. That second goal, Cacho on the give and go, but then Brian Quinn really put the stamp on this game.
Brian Quinn, as he does so often, when it's a clutch situation, he comes through. He knows his team's now within 1. They have the momentum. Now's the time to strike, and that's what he did. He took the responsibility, went directly at 2 or 3 of the Cleveland Crunch defenders, and made that goal happen.
Now the pressure's on Cleveland, and not because it's their home field. It's because they had the game won. San Diego, Ron Newman's going to be proud of these guys no matter what. They're satisfied in a sense that they've made a 4-goal comeback.
And should the Cleveland Crunch end up losing this game, this can be devastating in terms of down the road, your confidence. The next time you're in a similar situation, you're going to be second-guessing yourself.
And they beat this, or they lost to this club 4 times already this year. Played up now, intended for Segota. Over that far side for Crow. 3 goals in less than a couple of minutes, so it happens fast in indoor soccer. Castro trying to make it happen again. Along the boards, can't do it. Up for Marhetic, and now it's Fernandez to Segota. Coming back on the right side. Reeves, and it was blocked by Wade. And now we're looking at a situation where if no one scores in 2:05, it's overtime. Sudden death style. Last time you and I did an overtime game here, Cleveland won that game. That was very early in the season against Baltimore. And in that game, if I'm not mistaken, they had the lead and lost that lead in the closing minute.
And they ended up winning it anyway.
Yeah.
They've had Baltimore's number all year.
Except for the last game.
Yeah.
When they
that's true.
When they were blasted. Pardon that one. Here's Wright, the turnaround, blocked by Kevin Crow. Movement of the crunch, not like it was before. Here comes Crow. Got by James. Shot it wide. Wade overran the play. You can see there where the foot problem of James is hurting him and coming back. Here's Marhenek against Guevara in a 4-4 tie. Meffel, a long one, and that's too long and too high, and out of play it goes. So it's a 4-4 game, and as Meffel looks up at the scoreboard, he's got to be wondering what happened.
It's like a different game. It's like a different life. Suddenly the tables turn. Kai Hoskevy, he would very much like to win this one at home because you know how difficult it is to go back on the road. Ron Newman's team, on the other hand, has had so much difficulty on the road. They want to start to establish that they can really accumulate some wins as they go along. Because when you get towards playoff time, it's very obvious the teams that can really hold their own on the road are the ones that can go places.
Cacho from Zoltan Toth, who's going to be happy
well, he kept him in the game.
Yeah, but he's got to be as happy as he was disappointed with the lack of support now for the offense.
He hasn't had much to do, really, has he, for the last 6-7 minutes?
No, because Kevin Crow has taken his place for part of it.
Yeah.
But they have not come back the other way, even against Crow. They didn't handle the sixth attacker well. And a lot of teams have had problems with that. Toth. Some psychological thing with that sixth attacker. You almost think that, well, I got to just defend. Coach has tried to change that before, and they put an offensive player out there, but I've seen a lot of teams struggle with it. Here's Karich, wide, but looked like he had Johns almost guessing. Sweeney with it, less than a minute to play in regulation. I didn't think I'd have to use those words today. Not when it was 4-0. Quinn over the line. Blocked here, Segota, and luckily for Cleveland, he missed it. That's all you can say. He missed the ball because he was open. It got by Cacho and Sweeney. Fernandez now giving it up to Cacho. Karich, 24 seconds left in regulation. Tied at 4. A block from the leg of Meffel. Michael King, 18 seconds left. Cut it across from Marinello, is behind him. He and Toth collide. And now it's played up the other way. Cacho with 8 seconds left. It's coast to coast. A left-footed shot off the post. And the crowd, that noise you hear is a collective groan. Sigh of relief from the number that is here today. We've not been given an attendance figure, but for however many thousand are here, you could feel it. That sigh of relief when Cacho banged it off the goalpost. That's what I love about indoor soccer, though. I tell you.
That would have hurt, though.
Oh, yeah. That would have definitely hurt. 4-4 is the score. No one is heading for the parking lots. We go overtime in Richfield when we come back.
It's an ancient art, practiced today much as it was long ago. Nature's grains, pure water, a small, flavorful flour, artfully blended to create one simple, special product. It's older than the written word, as basic as bread. And for 80 million responsible Americans, it means refreshment, friendship, and life celebrated. It's beer, a good part of the good life. A message from Anheuser-Busch.
The Cleveland Crunch returns the Major Indoor Soccer League to Ohio, and Sports Channel has all the action. From opening kickoff to the final shot on goal, Sports Channel Ohio brings you the explosive play of head coach Kai Hoskevy, along with MISL veterans Bernie James, Mike Sweeney, Benny Dargle, Charlie Green, and the #1 college draft pick, Simon Keith. Hear the roar of the crowd as the Crunch take the field. Sunday, February 18th, the Crunch take on the Dallas Sidekicks, live at 5 on Sports Channel Ohio.
Take your best shot with the Sports Channel Pro Boxing Tour. It's a knockout. Mondays at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Only on Sports Channel America.
Stand right up for who you are. Stand up right now. Stand up and be counted.
The census is not for welfare.
Stop sign.
It counts for clinics, schools, and jobs.
Don't worry about a mess.
Census time is the time to speak up. Let's make sure we're all counted. Come on, answer the census.
Stand right up for who you are. Stand up.
Well, if you joined us about 10 minutes ago and you turned us off, now you turned us back on, you might think that's a typographical error. Trust me, it's not. 3 goals in about 2 minutes for San Diego, and that's why we're going overtime. And they almost won the game in the closing seconds.
About 20 seconds left in the game. At this time, Toth fires it forward, and Cacho's on a full length of the field break. He does have a defender in front of him, but he takes the ball to his left. You'll see him cut left, winds up with the left foot. P.J. Johns may have slightly touched it, but his best friend, that right goalpost, is the only thing that kept it out of the goal. We're going to see the tying goal that put us into this overtime situation here as Quinn worked his way through, battled his way through, got the ball over to the back post to Karich, and P.J. Johns nearly stopped that. He did get a piece of it, but it still carried on into the goal.
Stats after 4 quarters show the Crunch with the edge of the shots on goal, but you can throw all of those stats away because the only one that counts is the one on the scoreboard right now that shows that San Diego has tied it.
It's a new game.
Well, San Diego in overtime is 3-3, and the Crunch are 3-4.
And Cleveland really needs to approach this as if it's a new game. They have to forget completely about the one that they already let go. There's still a game to be won here, and if they can do that, they can win this in overtime. If they let that affect them, then it's San Diego that's going to use that momentum.
Remember, San Diego beat them in overtime on Guevara's goal. We told you that earlier on the telecast. That was a 5-4 game. Here's Guevara back. Hustling back upfield now for San Diego with some room. Michael King trying to close him down. Left side for West Wade. Picked up by James. Across now to Ladisor. Cleveland's going to get back in the game more mentally because San Diego most definitely mentally was ready for the closing 5 or 6 minutes, and Cleveland was just deflated. Here comes Ladisor. Off a block. Wade came in and then went flying. Compliments of Marinaro. And some help from King. Here's Wright. Coming back. James starting a run on the left side. And then delayed it because he was going to go off in a change or make it Dev Reeves, not James.
James looking slower as the game goes along. He's got to be hurting. Just barely making a jog sometimes with the pain in his ankle.
All the way back out. Now to Dennis Mepham. We're in sudden death overtime. 13:54 to go. Off a deflection off Marinaro, and now Ladisor just gives it back to Zoltan Toth. See, how is Wichita and Kansas City doing, you ask? Well, Kansas City's leading at 2-1 in the second quarter. Kansas City fresh off of their win against San Diego at home. On a night where they saluted, they recognized former keeper Alan Mayer. Here comes Marhetic. 2-on-2. Cano goes to the outside. Knocks it off the boards to get his own ball, but Toth was ready for it. And they're going to hold anyway.
Well, they're ruling that Marhetic dumped Guevara as he tried to go in to follow his own ball into the corner there.
Kevin Crow. Long left-footed pass for Jungle. Try to backheel it towards goal. Just missed. Johns now to Charlie Green. Interesting to see, though, that even though Jungle doesn't play as much with Ron Newman these days, that he's out there come crunch time in the overtime session. All it takes is a flick or a smart play on his part to win one. Sweeney. Now looking. Up for Marhetic. That's broken up. In the corner, there's Ben Collins. Stuck. Charlie Green in there to fight along the boards to Sweeney. Knocked out to Dargo. Benny Dargo has it blocked back to Mepham. Sent into the corner, headed away by Fernandez. Now to Quinn. We're in sudden death overtime. A 4-4 score with San Diego getting 3 goals in the space of less than a couple of minutes. Karich brings it back out to Cacho. Now to Fernandez. George Fernandez playing it along the boards for Quinn. That's blocked. Quinn will stay with it. Dargle is there. So is Johns. A loose ball. Dargle finally knocks it away into the neutral zone for Segota. He wants to tee it up. comes back onto the left foot, plays it into the pass, a quick shot blocked. Karich was blocked by Green, who may have saved the goal. Johns would have been screamed. Marhetic coming back. Blocked by Segota. Nice work defensively from Bronco. They're both actually fouling each other. It's who did it first. That's great hustle, though, from Segota coming back.
And who could disguise it the best. And just at the other end, a second ago, it was Segota who burned Marhetic. And then right here, Marhetic on a great spin turn move had burned Segota. Segota had to hold him.
Sweeney to Marinaro. Here's Green. He almost got up with Marinaro. Blocked by Cacho. I almost saw that red light spinning on. Here's Marinaro in the corner. Cacho plays it back to Zoltan Toth. Coming back upfield now. This is Brian Quinn, who sparked the resurgence of the Sockers. Around the boards, sent right back in, but luckily for Cleveland, very much wide on the part of Castro. Mepham. Michael King is on now for Cleveland, as is Paul Wright. And you know that Hoskeby's hurting because these are situations where he'd be out there for a good portion of overtime. And we haven't seen him yet, and may not. Coming back on the steal, Ladouceur. A very quick player for San Diego. Now King got it away. Michael King to Marinaro. Reverse to the right side. Here's Paul Wright. Tees it up. Punched out by Zoltan Toth. Wright will get it back. Settles it out for Mepham. He and James are the defenders. The number 3 and 4 in the MISL in block shots next to Powers and McLeod of Dallas. Two good block shotting, what do I want to say? Shot blockers. No, two good guys that block shots well. That's easier for me. James out to Mepham. Tougher to talk in overtime. James on the right side with 10:27 left in the first sudden death overtime. They'll play till somebody scores a goal. A lot of overtimes in the first 5 minutes, but some go into more than one overtime. There have been some long ones in the MISL. One that I did in St. Louis that went, I think, 4 overtimes before St. Louis won the game, beating Los Angeles. Right side, Michael King. Now to James. Looking for King. He's behind the defense, off the boards, cleared away by Crow. James hustling back. Castro had the edge in speed, but Mepham is there. He comes right back. Good cut to the outside of Collins. A left-footed shot blocked. Wright heading it down all the way across, but it never reached Bernie James. Michael King is back for it. Knocking it to Mepham. West Wade on him. And now Mepham slows it down. Wright changing for Mike Sweeney. Poked ahead to King. Now back to Mepham. Up for Marinaro. Blocked by Fernandez, who went down. Wade blocked on a tough tackle by Cleveland. That was Sweeney who went in there and won it. Sweeney will get to Marinaro. Tried to leave it off, but he was detained, and we've got a player down. Ladouceur.
King nailed him, and the officials didn't really see it. There was quite a hectic pace going on there, and I think they just missed it.
Bill Taylor, the trainer of San Diego in his 4th year, is out to take a look as we take a look at what happened.
Kirk Collins wins the race to the ball, and King swings late and just blasts him across the kneecap. And I looked at both officials, and they were both watching something else at the time that kick was taken by King onto Collins' knee. Or is it Ladouceur?
Yeah, you were listening to me.
Yeah.
You were listening to my mistake. You know, it's worse, though, is repeating someone else's mistake. So Ladouceur gets up and is apparently okay, but that's a mean kick to take. You know how those feel, right? You were on the receiving end, but you probably dished out a couple.
I could jump pretty high.
You probably dished out maybe a couple in your long career. You can admit it now. There's no late penalties. I have a statute of limitations.
Those guys never got up, though.
Well, if they did, and they're listening to this broadcast, they'll get you. There's Hoskeby patrolling the bench. I think his toughest job is getting guys mentally up. They seem to be mentally up here in overtime. They're fine, but as you said, this is a big game for them. They need to win it. They need to. They had the game won, if there is such a thing in indoor soccer, but a 4-0 lead in the 4th quarter, 9 times out of 10 is pretty darn secure.
I don't know that they put it behind them, but they have come out working hard.
Johns almost had it knocked in by Nguyen. And let me qualify that. He almost knocked it in himself before Nguyen did. Charlie Green. Well, if PJ wanted to liven up overtime, he sure did it there. Here comes Dargo. Cleveland reacting from a near disaster. Sweeney across, but it's way behind Dev Reeves. Dargo kept it in. There's Guevara trying to pull it away from Sweeney. Back to Toth. Right side, now here's Segota. 8:28 to go in the first overtime. Going long for Guevara. Now to Kevin Crowe. All the way across, here's Segota. Against Reeves. The veteran against the rookie. Right across, and Dargo saved that one with Nguyen behind him.
You see some of the acceleration that Segota possesses there. He explodes off the mark. He leaves Reeves behind and was able to put a dangerous ball across to the opposite side.
Well, Reeves can't worry about Segota there. He has no time to be scared. And that's a tough guy to have breaking down in your Bronco Segota, especially in these stages of a game.
He's so strong, too. Even if you do make some ground on him, he can hold you off with his strength.
Crowe missed. Nguyen fought for it. Plus, he's a money player. And you know that in these times, he's the guy that wants the ball. So if you're a defender and you know that's your side, you know you're stuck with him. A reminder that soccer fans, indoor or outdoor, can stay tuned to Sports Channel Ohio for the best in football action on Sunday, February 18th at 12:30. You can watch English League Soccer. See some of England's finest soccer teams Sunday, February 18th at 2:30. A 4-4 tie, and we're going to take a look at what nearly resulted in disaster.
P.J. John's really playing with fire as he's trying to dribble the ball out. And that ball was out of his reach for a second there with the San Diego attacker, Nguyen, almost beating him to it.
On the replay, it didn't look as bad as when we saw it live.
Well, you'll see it better from this angle. You see how far off his foot it was.
Yes.
Where Nguyen might have really had a chance to maybe slide for it.
Good shot. Good shot there on that second replay. You could see the imminent danger as P.J. Johns is over to the bench. He knows how important this game is to Cleveland. They had a lead, and I always like to say, I think that's part of the thrill of indoor soccer. I always tell people as a sales point that the game's really never over till it's over. I've seen teams with a sixth attacker get 4 goals in 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and I've seen some great comebacks. But usually what you'll see in indoor soccer is maybe a different half. One team is great in the first half, they come out, second half's different. One quarter is different, but we're talking about a total Cleveland collapse in about a 5-minute time.
Exactly. And what makes you think back to how San Diego was playing it, they didn't panic. You know, the game was not out of reach. They continued to play a certain style where they didn't risk a whole lot. In other words, don't let that lead get too big, and then when it really comes down to it, make your play to try and win. And that's one way to try and win on the road.
And there was no real warning signal. We weren't telling you that the way this is going, look out for San Diego. It just happened. Just like someone lit the fuse and didn't tell everybody to run for cover. It was just a big explosion, and Cleveland never had a chance to hide from it.
All at once.
Here's Cacho. He was a big factor in this with his goal, his 9th of the year. 7:19 left in our first overtime. Even at 4, win or lose, this is a great comeback from San Diego, down 4-0. So going off the boards, and it's just wide. A battle for it. It comes out into the neutral zone. Cacho to George Fernandez. Fernandez originally drafted by the Cleveland Force here, then went to Los Angeles.
He's the only Hawaiian in the MISL.
Darn, I wanted to use that line, and you used it on me. On the right side, it's clearly cross, but you're right. Hawaiian-born. Here's Fernandez, and it's blocked. Marinaro clears it out, and right now, Cleveland's just defending the fort. Here's Tote to the right side. Brian Quinn over the line. Dangerous, bumped it around. Marinaro plays it across, and there's Mepham, and not a blue and white jersey in sight, luckily for Cleveland.
Marinaro making a smart defensive play. Quinn had him beat, but he still got a bump on him, perhaps stopping Quinn from shooting and only allowing Quinn to just cut a ball across the box, because even if you're beaten, you still got to try and interfere as best you can, and Marinaro did a good job of it there.
When Quinn played it across, there were probably some Crunch fans that closed their eyes for a second and said, I don't want to see this, because if anyone was there, it would have been an easy finish. 4-4 in overtime, up for Marinaro. Neither team has had great overtime success. San Diego was 3-3, and the Crunch 3-4. Off the glass, this could be dangerous. Wade is there, lost it to Sweeney for the moment. Quinn trying to atone for that error, but Sweeney is in there with Marinaro. Look at Quinn battle. Marinaro, I thought took him down. They're going to say Marinaro took him down. And there'll be a restart. There are the two battlers, though, that you had said, Quinn and Sweeney.
A battle of the Terriers there.
Here's Marinaro on the restart. He has 1 goal today. Trying to play it across. It was blocked. Segota knocked away by James to Mepham. Quickly to Sweeney. Nice one-touch passing here by the Crunch. James' shot, though, blocked, and it goes into the seats out of play. But they worked that well, backwards to forwards. And they were ready to do a little side-to-side if necessary to get a good shot on goal. We have 5:29 to go. I'm a little bit surprised that it's not over yet, because most of the games that I've seen have been decided in the first 5 minutes or so, and especially with the way the regular portion of this game ended.
Well, the game has been different since the overtime. Both teams have really refused to lose. Both teams battling every inch and every step of the way.
Here's Marinaro, and it's shot wide. Coming back was Ladiseur. None the worse for wear after that tough kick the other way. Here's Guevara, blocked by Johns. Guevara bidding to win his second game in overtime against Cleveland. Right, will give it up. Right side to King. King at an impossible angle this time to do something with it, but he'll play it out to James. Jeff Reeves is open, but James, that's too tough a pass to make to split two defenders for now, so he pulls back to Marinaro. Back to Marinaro, up for Michael King. 30th goal he scored earlier in the game. Played in off Marinaro's touch, but not enough as Marinaro was sent down. Referees are letting both teams play. It's been consistent, so I don't think either team can complain about one that's not called. And just as I say it, one is, but they've been letting it go both sides. They're not taking it away from it. They want somebody to win it on a good goal. And I think they recognize the intensity level. Sometimes you can call the game too loose, sometimes too tight. Here, I'm pretty comfortable with the way it's going in overtime. Those are the guys that have won games in OT. King, I remember, against Baltimore. And then the next night, Coulsdon got it on the road. Here comes Marhenek. He's a game breaker. Put it too far in front of him, though, that time. Long throw. Carriage got behind the defense. Johns hesitated and still made the save. He came out and then retreated and almost was stuck in nowhere land.
He was lucky he didn't have to use his hands since he was so far out. The ball coming into his legs instead.
Guevara over the ball for Jungle. The all-time leading goal scorer wanted to crack at another one. Marhenek joined in the run by Sweeney. Potter against Kevin Crowe. The shot stopped by the face of Toth and played right back to Zoltan. Marhenek did well.
Just a toe poke to get it past Kevin Crowe, who was the defender immediately in front of him. And sometimes you can use that defender as a screen. So another great save, really, by Zoltan Toth, because he probably didn't see it that well. And it's a quick release due to the fact that Marhenek uses his toe.
And he might be thinking Sweeney, too, on the right wing side as another option. Here's a left-footed shot, stopped by Johns.
Oh, that was hit well.
Yes, it was by Quinn. Normally, he'll go strong with that right foot, and that time from that angle. I'm surprised he went with his left foot. Charlie Green knocking it to Marinaro. Marinaro lost it as he tried to swing it back. Now it's Segota. A lot of playing time here for Bronco. Marinaro tried to get him on the steal and went down instead. Here comes Segota against Charlie Green. To his right side, now pulls it back left. The shot blocked, stopped by Johns. Got a hand somewhere on there, and then it hit behind him. Well, maybe the gods are smiling on the crunch. That one should have been game over.
How about that cut by Segota?
Beautiful. Here's Paul Wright. In for Marinaro. Toth got some help from Quinn. Segota made a great cut. Green couldn't go with him because of that leg heavily taped. It's tough to guard Segota normally. Here's Cacho. A 4-4 tie in OT. 2:40 to go in the first overtime session. Right side. Here's a carriage blast blocked. Jungle couldn't find it. Wright tried to play it back dangerously. Mepham looking. Moves it upfield. Michael King to Marhenek. Otto drawing a crowd on that side, including Jungle and Ladiseur. He keeps it going forward. Michael King trying to poke at it. Marhenek with King, and now it's knocked away into the seats, but deflected by San Diego.
We're going to have some tired Cowboys after this game because both of these teams did play Friday night. They traveled yesterday. Now they're in overtime. And this pace in this first overtime has just been relentless.
San Diego goes on. They'll be playing Baltimore before they will head back home. Cleveland is off until a Saturday game here against Wichita. The Wings coming in with a bit of a new look after making that trade for David Byrne and Header. Played in off a deflection. Sweeney looked like he wanted to go towards goal, but miskicked it. Here's Mepham trying to send it in once, then twice off the boards. Rebound. Sweeney save. Mepham missed. And before King could kick it, it's banged out of there intentionally. Cleveland will get the ball, and as I said the other way that the gods were smiling on the crunch, they're smiling this way now.
Mepham was there. He had that wide open net. It's not that easy, but he followed up his own play well here as there was a couple of rebounds. Sweeney has a shot, and that's the one that he really wanted to bury, and he had to hit it hard because there's other people's feet trying to block it. He hits it hard, and he hits it slightly wide.
Back line, Marhetic off a deflection. Right side, Sweeney saving the short side. Another one saved by Toth. 3 for a quarter, but he missed that one on the block. Sweeney again, across diving header, great save, Toth.
What a spectacular goal that would have been. That had been on the highlight film, no doubt. Another save by Toth. Toth's been under pressure so much of this game and has been come up with save after save after save.
On the left side, here comes Ladouceur. The shot blocked by Sweeney. Loose ball and Wade misfired. Got lost in the crowd there. Segota knocked down by Dargle. Play continues on. Here comes Marhetic. King making a run to the right. Hall right is to the left. Marhetic to King right across. Off a deflection, and it's turned out by Nguyen.
Tell you what, the fans are getting their money's worth. There's no doubt about it. You see this end-to-end stuff, and neither team letting up even for a second.
All right, these two teams may not even have the energy to shake hands when it's over. Wright got free against his former mates. Pumped it right bang, right past the empty net. No one around to get a deflection. It almost went in on its own from a near impossible angle.
And you wonder why coaches have ulcers and high blood pressure. You see that type of action there, and with the whole game and the kind of game that it's been, you have to say that the Sockers would have to be proud of themselves, as you said, no matter what the outcome. But I think there's really much more at stake for the Cleveland Crunch. They're at home. They need this win for sure, especially because they really let that lead slip away that they had built up in those first 3.5 quarters.
Well, regardless of who wins, I'd love to call a goal for some team like Mepham's. I mean, a
great goal.
Yeah.
A great goal.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one you want to call. If you're a Crunch fan, that would have been the one.
Well, if you're going to lose, if you're a Sockers fan, if you're going to lose, you might as well lose on a goal like that.
Not just on the highlight film for Cleveland, on the league highlight film that would have got.
Yeah.
Right, taken down. You and I saw a goal that Daryl Duran scored against Tacoma. Back to goal, 3 or 4 juggles turned and scored. The place went nuts, and Jungle in the next day's paper said, if you lose on a goal like that, I'm not sure you really lost. And I thought, coming from a guy that scored how many great goals
that was a real tribute. And it was a brilliant goal.
I still remember it.
That's right. If you're going to lose, you want to lose on a great effort.
Here's Wright in for King. A lot of overtimes end in fluky ones, though. Yeah. The nature of the beast. Marhetic was nailed by Segota. He's going to give him 2. That's a gutsy call in overtime.
I think it was the right call.
Well, Segota is going to get a 2-minute penalty.
Segota just there late.
He doesn't even have the strength to argue.
Look at Newman's face.
That looks like a portrait.
That looks like an inflatable Ron Newman down there.
Normally, he's animated.
Yeah. The ball pops out to Marhetic, and he's about to sneak past Segota. Segota doesn't even look at the ball, takes Marhetic's leg shot, and that's a chance on goal. That's why it's 2 minutes, because Marhetic otherwise is going in to take a shot that could win the game.
1 second here in this overtime. I say it's a gutsy call because it is at this stage, but I'm one of those people that thinks it's in the rule book, you call it, but I'm going by the way it's always called, in hockey as well, where sometimes in overtime, they put the whistles away.
If you come right down to it, if you don't call it, it's gutsy, because the rules, I mean, that would have stopped the chance.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you.
The rules exist for a reason. And,
I agree. I'm just going by the way it's normally called. Here's Marinaro, and that's it for this particular overtime session. But the power play will carry over, and Cleveland has a great chance here to win it in sudden death overtime with a power play, almost a full 2 minutes, and we'll see if they can do it when we come back to Richfield. Don't go away. If you've stayed with us this long, I'm sure you'll be back when we come back.
It's an ancient art, practiced today much as it was long ago. Nature's grains, pure water, a small, flavorful flower, artfully blended to create one simple, special product. It's older than the written word, as basic as bread. And for 80 million responsible Americans, it means refreshment, friendship, and life celebrated. It's beer, the good part of the good life. A message from Anheuser-Busch.
The Cleveland Crunch returns the Major Indoor Soccer League to Ohio, and Sports Channel has all the action. From opening kickoff to the final shot on goal, Sports Channel Ohio brings you the explosive play of head coach Kai Oskavy, along with MISL veterans Bernie James, Mike Sweeney, Benny Dargle, Charlie Green.
I mean, you may not agree because at 4-0, you figure you're in the parking lots, you're headed for home, or if you're watching on TV, now you switch off, you're watching something else. But this is a magnificent game, and Zoltan Toth has put on a real clinic for goalkeepers.
Well, if you're a sports fan, you've got to like this because there's been no lack of excitement. You've just seen tremendous action in front of all the goals, and Sweeney here tests Zoltan Toth 2-3 times at the near post, and Toth has been our player of the game so far. When you think about the run of the play and really what's gone on here, he's the one that kept San Diego in the game and enabled them and met them on that diving header. How'd you like to see that go in?
I would love to call that. I mean, just regardless of whether this is a Crunch telecast, a MISL telecast,
he launched himself.
If I was a San Diego sports announcer and I was a big homer, I would have loved to call that goal.
Yeah, sometimes you'll see head balls that aren't hit that hard. I mean, generally you don't hit a head ball as hard as you hit a shot with your foot. But that one, hey, the way he threw his body into it, that had a lot of kick on it, and it would have stretched the back of the net, even though it was a head ball.
Velocity plus. So here we go. Sudden death overtime 2. Second overtime session. Cleveland 4, San Diego 4. Sweeney almost took it away from Quinn right at the start. All the way back now to Kevin Crowe. Across the way to Fernandez. Lifting it long, nobody home, and it goes on a play. Remember, this is a power play, and you'll remember it better if I remember to tell you. But that's the way it starts off here because it was called with a second to go in that last overtime. And for a moment, I forgot about that. There you see Segota. Power play is on for Cleveland. And here's where the power play, which has not been a big strength for this club, can be a big help to them right now. Momentum-wise, it could be a downer if they don't score here. Here's Marhetic knocking it back to King. Man advantage, a minute 37. Watch King and Marhetic, 4 power play goals each this year. Played in, knocked away by Crowe. Blocked by Michael King. Just as Crowe had thoughts of going the other way. Michael King holding it. A minute 20 on the power play. Played off the boards by Green. Knocked out by Quinn. King, good job from Marinaro. Hector getting it free. Looking, turning, it's blocked by Fernandez. Marinaro again. With a minute 8 on the power play. Out to Charlie Green. Right side for Sweeney. Picked up by Guevara. Guevara had 6 shorthanded goals a couple years back, so you got to watch him, but he's not thinking about it now. Right side, King, a blast that's blocked out to Sweeney. A left footer blocked by Guevara, and it goes into the crowd. Tell you, that first sequence when Marinaro got it off of a block, had he been able to go right, but I think there was a fallen body there, and he couldn't get that way, and it was too congested on the
There
left
was a couple collisions off the ball there. I was, in fact, thinking there might be a penalty somewhere in there. I didn't exactly see what happened, but Marinaro was the one that was tripped up.
So, we have a 4-4 tie, 13:51 left in the second overtime, 50 seconds on the man advantage. Kai Oskavy giving out the instructions from the side.
Well, he's made an adjustment here to the power play, putting Marinaro out on that right side at the point.
You want the guy with a better shot out that far out, and Sweeney the better playmaker and setting it up. Marhetic coming through on the toe post. Sweeney a drive, a little too high for Toth. Marinaro right across.
Nice bring down with the chest by Marinaro to set himself for that shot.
Guevara, but King reversed it well. I thought he was going to have to go back to Johns. That saved him about 8 to 10 seconds, at least in the power play. Charlie Green knocking it out to Marhetic. Pato beating Guevara. Still coming. Pokes it to Green right through, and Sweeney had his foot on the doorstep.
Some good work there on the power play, just failed to click.
Marhetic to King. Power play, time running out. Pato with a block off a throw pass. Cuts it. Sweeney with a chance. The right foot score! Mike Sweeney, it's over!
captain of the Cleveland Crunch, Mike Sweeney, with just 5 seconds left in the power play. He really had a lot of patience on that one. The San Diego Sockers walk off dejectedly. What an effort by them. They really have nothing to be ashamed of. But the Crunch at home here on the power play. It's Marhetic to Sweeney. He fakes one shot. He fakes another one. Cuts inside and just places the ball well into the upper part of the net. Toth had come out trying to cut the angle. He was down low. The shot was rising. It got in up over him. Marhetic flipping it across the box. Sweeney, nice move there with the left foot. Pumps once, pumps twice with the right foot. Finally just gets it in over the left shoulder of Zoltan Toth. Kevin Crow on the line trying to back up Toth. Could not block it.
I'm surprised they had enough strength to do that victory lap, but when you win, you get that little bit of resurgence. What a game for the Crunch. And Mike Sweeney, that's what, 2 goals for him unofficially and 2 assists as well. So he equalized Zoltan Toth's performance the other way. A reminder that our next Sports Channel game, hopefully it'll be this exciting, although Crunch fans don't want to see a 4-goal lead go by the board. That's next Sunday, February 18th at 5 p.m. versus the Dallas Sidekicks. 5-4, Cleveland wins it, took 2 overtimes. Our executive producer has been Joe Tanzarello. This game has been produced and directed by Patrick J. Murray. Associate producer George Fryer. The AD has been Paul Conoco. Assistant director Rich Farrow. Master control operator is also Rich Farrow. Transmission provided by Hughes Television Network. A reminder to stay tuned here on Sports Channel. College basketball up next. Temple will meet the University of